I feel like I'm caustic, I'm breathing on gas. They're on the smoke, patiently wait to attack. I feel like I lost it, I see through the gas. Obnoxious, I'm knocking, yeah, I'm taking your back. I feel like I'm caustic, looting your buddy, your homie still choking on gas. I'm laughing, beating the enemy, hoping they pick up your slack. Yeah, winning now feels like a thing of the past. Your props are gonna throw up the glass. We take what we want, we leave in the trash. Racking up facts as we move through the map. We're waiting for people to follow my trap. Through the swamps, don't we take what we want? Champion, living some 50 gang, what we own. We meant to don't flatline like you up. Always getting what we want, but it never is enough.
My methods are only controversial to those who lack imagination.
I feel like I'm caustic, I'm breathing on gas. They're on the smoke, patiently wait to attack. I feel like I lost it, I see through the gas. Obnoxious, I'm knocking, yeah, I'm taking your back. I feel like I'm caustic, I'm breathing on gas. They're on the smoke, patiently wait to attack. I feel like I lost it, I see through the gas. Obnoxious, I'm knocking, yeah, I'm taking your back. I'm throwing out cans, I'm betting you won't. Peacekeeper making you dance, you know I'm the GOAT. Champion squad, every time we go, this legend control. I'm climbing the top, no matter the toll. I climb to the top, no matter the toll. I'm throwing out cans, I'm betting you won't. Peacekeeper making you dance, you know I'm the GOAT. Champion squad, every time that we go, this legend control. I climb to the top, no matter the toll.
Yeah, hey, I climb to the top.
I climb to the top, no matter the toll. Take a look at the scoreboard. I thought that you would do more. I'm giving this my everything. I'm the best that you have ever seen. I'm starting. I'm going in. Where is my team? Nobody slays like I slay. Come on, girl. Nobody slays like I slay. This is my world. Nobody slays like I slay. Come on, girl. Nobody slays like I slay. This is my world. Nobody slays like I slay. Come on, girl. Nobody slays like I slay. This is my world. I'm starting. I'm going in. Where is my team? I'm going in. I'm starting. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough. Feeling caustic when I drop, leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about, watch you fade like a thought. Skull town where I bang, watch your life, watch your drain. Never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. 301 in my hands, different drop, same plan. To my squad, I'm the man, I'm a witness, no I can't. Sending shots, no spam, accurate, watch them slam, watch them run while they can. Make them slump, give me the loot, take what I want. All of my rounds, light like the sun, yeah I am the one, lighting you up. R301, you're all that I need, you're all that I want. We at the top, act like we scum, taking your life and leaving the crumbs. Do what we want, we get the dub, living that life, yeah, R301. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough. Feeling caustic when I drop, leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about, watch you fade like a thought. Skull town where I bang, watch your life, watch your drain. Never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough. Feeling caustic when I drop, leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about, watch you fade like a thought. Skull town where I bang, watch your life, watch your drain. Never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough. Feeling caustic when I drop, leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about, watch you fade like a thought. Skull town where I bang, watch your life, watch your drain. Never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough. Feeling caustic when I drop, leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you about, watch you fade like a thought. Skull town where I bang, watch your life, watch your drain. Never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. I got the sides, H-Cog, barrel stabilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Dropping with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Yeah, we all in, yeah, we mobbing down the hill and they falling. I'm looting up they squad, yeah, they ballin', I'm ballin'. I told you we would get it, yeah, I called it. We keep on queuing up, we just can't get enough. These wins are stacking up, my ops like a lake, yeah, they spotted up. We know when to run, we know when to fry. We turning, we burning, we leaving the ops to die. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Dropping with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Golden light bag, leave your body in a bag. Was a 301, but it was a 1v3. Bet you mad, rolling round a circle like a private lobby. They gon' need a third, fourth, fifth party if they wanna stop me. Call me the meta man, they copy when they can. They just don't understand. I got this mastiff and I'm ripping up your platform. fast, I ain't let it slam. My bullets blood, you open up the dam. Everything I do, this the way I am. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Yeah. We all in, yeah, we mobbing down the hill and they falling. I'm looting up they squad, yeah, they ballin', I'm ballin'. I told you we would get it, yeah, I called it. We keep on queuing up, run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party. Run up feeling dirty, dirty, hit 'em with the 30-30. Drop it with me, that's a 50-50, and ain't never learning. Back to the lobby, got you playing sloppy. Triple take your life away, we the third party.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Series E Apex Legends. My name is Yeso. I will be your host today as we close out week number 10 here of Season 4. It's been an awesome season so far, and we're obviously right kicking off the back half of the season. We had an incredible night last night with Open Night and saw Team Intel win off of the back of an incredible and I would say record-breaking Game 3 performance. 28 kills from them in that one. That was enough to eke out a 2-point victory over Team Excedrin. They'll be looking to do much of the same here tonight, but the competition will be a whole lot stiffer as, of course, it is Pro Night, so we have some of the best coming out to compete tonight. Now, for those of you that are new to what we do here, maybe have just stumbled across the show, I want to explain just how things work. Okay, Series E is a professional esports open circuit across multiple titles. We've got Apex Legends, Halo Infinite, and Guilty Gear Strive, and absolutely anyone can get in on the fun. The best of teams that compete in our open qualifiers get into Series E. That means that they sign a contract, they get drafted by one of our sponsored brands. They get a monthly salary, and they get the opportunity to compete weekly for points and prize money. In Apex, it's every Tuesday night against other squads just like they used to be themselves. And then every single Wednesday, they play against some of the best pros from all across North America. So if you and your friends want to get in on the fun, sign up over at matcherino.com/ESA. And if you need more information, it's all over at esportsarena.com. Now, as I mentioned, it is Pro Night, so we've got TSM, XSET, CLG, C9, a lot of the big boys all coming out to compete tonight, and Intel is going to look to repeat that incredible performance they had from last night. This is a squad trying to chase down Vizio at the top of the standings. They are very solidly in second place and have a nice little lead over Team Nerf, but they have quite a lot of ground to make up if they want to catch up to Vizio. Meanwhile, looking at the rest of the squads, of course, Razor came into this week at the bottom of the standings, and they're looking to have a bit of a bounce back. While they may struggle to catch up to a team like Vizio, the important threshold for them right now is to get into the top 3 and hold on to their spot in Series E for next season. So if they can chase down Team Nerf and jump into that top 3, they will be safe going into Season 5, and they still have a lot of time to do so, but they need to start working now. That's a squad that has had seemingly high potential at times, but have yet to bring out that big performance you're looking for from a team looking to make some noise. So we'll see what they can do. Of course, tonight will be a nice preview, as well as, of course, we will be playing half and half tonight on the maps. Our first 3 games will be on World's Edge. We will finish the night with 3 games on Storm Point, of course, mirroring the format we will see from the ALGS Pro League starting this weekend. Of course, a few of the teams you see, most of the teams, I should say, that you will see here tonight will be competing starting this weekend. Of course, that does include Team Esports Arena looking to continue the trend from their 3rd place finish in the ALGS Split 1 playoffs. But the nice part is the action's ready to go. We've got 6 games ahead of us tonight. Jamerson and my friend T-Square will be bringing you all of the fun, and I'll be here in between games to talk about everything that we've seen. But let's get into it right now and kick off Series E Pro Night.
Series E.
Series E.
Series E.
Series E. Series E.
Apex Legends.
Apex Legends.
Series E. Apex Legends starts right now.
And now we're seeing it once again, just like Game 2, slow down, but Fury won.
Time and time again, and geez, they think they're winning it. Chances are they're winning it.
So it gets thirsted by Zera Tricky as Hacula is going to come around the corner with the spray, and now it's just one player alive over here, and this was...
All right, welcome everybody to Series E. It is Pro Night this week, and joining me once again as my co-caster for the evening, I've got Tom T-Squared Taylor. Tom, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jamerson?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Super excited for tonight's games. I took a little bit of a break. I had maybe a month off from casting, and so I'm really excited to see how our partner teams have adjusted in the last 4 weeks when it comes to the Pro Night, because we always know this is a different beast. This is a different level of competition.
Yeah, let's recap a little bit what happened yesterday. If you guys ended up missing our open day, we had a phenomenal performance coming out from Intel on World's Edge, where they dropped a 40 bomb in terms of points. And then Excedrin, when we switched on over to Stormpoint, ended up winning back-to-back games in game number 4 and 5, which kind of is the storyline for today. Is Excedrin a serious contender on Stormpoint, or is it kind of a fluke on what they were able to do on the open night? I think that's going to be a lot of what we're looking at today, plus that 50-50 that's going on between CLG and XSET.
Yeah, that's always going to be interesting to watch. But I mean, XSET have been doing so well from what I've seen so far in terms of that 50-50. And whenever they survive, they are able to make it to the late game. And that's kind of always been the case for XSET when they get challenged over there at Harvester. If the 50-50 goes their way, they tend to have a really good game. That still remains to be seen, though. Let's go ahead and talk about exactly what's going on tonight, taking a look at the format. Like Yeso said, we are going to have 6 matches. 3 of them are going to be on World's Edge, and 3 of them are going to be on Stormpoint. We have $500 on the line as well. $350 going to first place, and $150 going to second place. And how do they accrue the points to come in first and second? Well, it's all about placements and, of course, kill points. 12 points for first place, all the way down to 15th, which will net you only 1 point. But every single kill you get along the way counts as 1 point as well. And I mean, we got to see how kill points can be so crucial last night. We were talking about it. Team Intel had a 28 kill game in game number 3. And Tom, that is half the lobby.
I mean, it's not the 5K that I dropped and ranked earlier today before we went on to the esports. No, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, 28 kills is absolutely insane, Jamerson. And if you're able to pull that off in a pro day, you look like you're going to be winning a tournament. And in terms of who's been doing really well in the scrims, to me, I think G2 is definitely a team to watch out for. I'm excited to see if they're going to be in our lobby today. So let's take a look at the pro teams and see who's matching up against our partnered teams. And you can see all on that right-hand side, so many big hitters. You have TSM with Verholst coming in. You have Team Esports Arena in the top left, just like Yeso said, third place. So our first place and our third place teams right there in the ALGS Split 1 playoffs. And then teams that have made some changes like Liquid, I'm looking to see what they're going to be able to do, as well as Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, a lot of changes coming out here. I mean, it's kind of piece and parcel with what happens after major competition, right? When you have that rebuilding structure, the time to actually do it, the lenience to be able to do that. And so we'll see if it's going to be enough for Team Liquid and others who are looking to improve coming into the next split of the Pro League. And of course, this is definitely one of the avenues to do it here in Series E on the Pro Nights, where you've got all these heavy hitters. I mean, there's so many favorites here that's hard to call. We unfortunately don't have G2 today. I don't know, maybe they're taking a much needed break. They've been grinders, honestly. I mean, it was so great to see G2 like initially, right, Tom, when you and I were first casting Series E at the beginning. Aim Assist was just on the scene, and I feel like they've never taken a break.
I love the way that they play, and I love their attitude, and I love that they've stuck together, right? Because through thick and thin, they've kind of kept that same lineup, and I really think that's what esports is about in terms of longevity. It really helps, especially with your org or whether your partner team, whatever it is. And, you know, sometimes you end up seeing teammates get back together, like we saw Crummy and Matt Pickett get back together yesterday. But when in terms of other team changes, you got to look out for Furia as well, with Panders and Zeratricky coming in on there. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And speaking of favorite players, we have everyone's favorite Rat coming in on Atlanta Premier. We got Rat Boy Ronnie in there.
That's right. I mean, it's been great to see, though. Ronnie, like we were talking about teams that have been evolving and changing and that have been able to grow. And throughout Series E, we've seen Ronnie really come into his own. And so I'm glad to see that we have him back once again, playing with Crook and Asura. There are just so many names here. It's hard to really try to nail down one roster that we want to talk about. But who do you feel like is the heavy favorite coming into today's games?
You have to always put TSM in the favorite, especially when they come off a win like the way that they did. And they always take the games extremely seriously. If they're not taking the game seriously, they're taking it as a huge learning experience, not like the other teams aren't. But, you know, from watching Hell's stream, you know, the constructive criticism that they give, it's very hardcore in the way that they take their approach. And it works for them, right? They make sure that they're capitalizing on every single second that they're putting down, and winning to them is their way of having fun. So I really like their approach on the way that they go about things. I'm also looking forward, just like we were talking about, these new team changes that are coming through, right? How's Madness going to do on Renegades? How's the honeymoon phase going to go for a lot of these squads, because a lot of it does, come down to, all right, can we carry that momentum through that honeymoon phase and keep that up? And then what happens when things start to go wrong? Who's going to point the blame and who's going to actually accept responsibility as a whole for the team when things do actually start going wrong? So I think that's why you start seeing a lot of the team changes that end up happening. A team like C9 now has a really strong roster, and they've been sticking together for quite some time since they made their original changes. So I think C9's another favorite.
All right, C9, TSM. Now the big question, of course, it always comes down to, I know we've been having scrims. Once it gets on to Storm Point, never mind, we're going over to the World's Edge. So let's go ahead and head straight into World's Edge for game number 1 of Series E. We're going to be looking forward to that hot contest that's going to be taking place over at Harvester again, XSET versus CLG. I mean, it's been plain and clear. We saw the leaked DMs. Hey, we are going to be here 100% CLG will, and so we should be keeping an eye on that. But for right now, everything else looks pretty standard in terms of drop. We do, of course, have TSM dropping down into Fragment East. It looks like Atlanta Premier are taking the Fragment West side as well.
What's your take on DMs? Oh, we don't have time for that, but that DM was absolutely crazy. We're going to have to talk about that a little bit later, as that 50-50 is already happening. We're going to have to full screen this one as the teams are starting to make their landings in. But there goes Kenny with the purple armor, and that's a huge pickup. Every time you can control the middle here, Jamerson, that's really what you're looking for. With Caustic really coming out of the meta right now, we're going to start to see what happens for the rest of the players, as Kenny's playing like he's a Gibraltar there with his arm shield, has the EVA 8 out, but he loses all of that purple armor, and now they're in a 2v3 situation, 2v2 here, but you can see Claim and Clarify very weak.
Yeah, P2020 is not what you want in this situation, but you're lucky to have any gun at all. Throwing down nades to cover just a little bit and buy some time for him to get some heals off here. As you got a Phoenix kit in the hands of Klain. This could be a big surprising moment for them as they go for the bubble res now. And it looks like it's answered in kind on the other side. But do they have heals for Kenny is the big question. He's hitting the slow ones, and that's unfortunate because he's the one that has a purple armor. If they had a bat, that would have been huge for them. Another 50-50 taking place as well, as Nestle Slash, I believe, are fighting up against Furia right now. There we go. XSET with the reset. We'll go ahead and back off, get some better weapons for themselves, and there they should be ready to fight. A PK versus an EVA. That's going to be a lot more bang for your buck when it comes to the shots, as it looks like XSET are actually just going to call the complete retreat here. So they've already wasted their time. They've already wasted their meds. They're going to go ahead and start moving instead.
And this is what they've learned. And when we first started seeing this 50-50 and we questioned it over and over again, I got a little heat on Twitter on what was going on. But they've learned, right? I mean, there's no reason to continue that fight. Back off. It was fun while it lasted. Reset. You've won a majority of the games when you actually make it past the 50-50, just like you were talking about. So I think this is absolutely genius from XSET. I love the res coming in from Clarify. And you saw CLG, like you said, it was answered in unison, Jamerson. Literally, bubble res on top of bubble res. These teams are mimicking each other. They know exactly how they play. And if you were any other team dropping Harvester, you're going to lose just because of the amount of times that XSET and CLG have faced off in that. So they're really playing that 50-50 to perfection. Like you said, not having solid guns is always questionable there. But let's take a look at the zone and see exactly what's happening over towards the Overlook side. You already have Complexity rotating through. C9's going to come through late. You have Ghost Gaming already rotating through the Geyser hand side. And then you have Team Vizio, who's number 1 our cumulative points here on our Series E leaderboard for all of our partner teams. They're always first to rotate over from that landslide area. And coincidentally enough, they're already making their way over towards the Overlook side. But to me, it seems like TSM has picked the best spot. They're in the priority position right now. And it's going to be up to Vorholst on Valkyrie to continue to just add pressure with Reps holding down things in the back and then Hal working with Vorholst.
Yeah, Reps is really going to want to anchor around that beacon building. It looks like that's where they have set up for themselves right now, on board with XSET still, as they're making their way across. And they did walk away with some decent armors. Remember, Kenny got up with that purple armor himself. Renegades finding themselves in a fight in Lava Siphon right now. So if they have the 50-50 taking place here, or if a fight takes place here, you see the exchanges. XSET might be able to pounce upon this. Nerf is, of course, the team that typically drops here, as Demi is taking his time, hitting that Phoenix kit, getting that out of the way early on, as, typically you want that space for some more heals overall. It looks like Nerf will just go ahead and call it here and start making their rotate in. They understand, like you said, Tom, this is more than likely going to be an Overlook circle. Hold on a minute. Wingman season in a fight. It's going to be Furia taking out 2. That's going to be the full squad going down. Furia picking up the +3.
Free is definitely a team to watch out for, especially since Fuse is going to be in play here. Fuse has been a little bit common in a couple of different compositions with maybe say like Team Liquid. Sarah Tricky's picked it up a little bit, but I'm curious to see how viable it actually can be, because it seems to me more like a fun pick, et cetera, et cetera. We saw Mad Maggie yesterday with the Thermites to the wall being very utilized coming in from the side of Team Intel, which I really enjoyed. Speaking of Overlook, speaking of priority positions, 100 Thieves, they're locking down what you've seen very, very often from a lot of top squads on top of the 3 pills, but coexisting over here and owning the building that is over towards the side is pretty ballsy. So Amu's going to realize that, back off. He doesn't have his ultimate quite yet. Now it's up. So if he wanted to go and kind of dilly-dally around, frolic around the map, gather information, that could be a play. But when you're in such a good spot right now, you might as well chill. The problem with these Overlook zones, they do get kind of boring, right? We're going to have to pay attention to the teams on the outside making their way in, because teams like TSM, teams like 100 Thieves, they're too smart to fight each other here, because once they start to fight, all the other teams start to third party and fill into the spots that they got into very early. So it's going to be more about the teams on the outside, and it's going to be tough for these teams on the outside to even make it in. One team's probably going to end up being like the king of the rotations here.
Yeah, typically it's going to be about 7, maybe 8 squads that can coexist inside Overlook proper, while everyone else is kind of relegated to No Name and also these tunnels here that Ghost are currently moving through right now. It does seem like there might be someone just on the other side of this one. We'll see if they run into them, but they've got to clear it all out. There's so many new angles now with these map changes, with this additional pathing to get out of this tunnel to the Overlook side, that you have to be very, very wary. And Impulse is the one that's on the front line right now, double checking every single angle as he goes. Already down to 18 squads, 54 players left as the first ring is still closing up. So a lot of this came down to the 50-50s that took place early on, but usually we know that here on the Pro Nights, the pace is a little bit slower. Maybe the first game is a feeling out period, but it looks like everything has kind of settled down, and Ghost will be relatively happy with this position as a passive one until about ring number 3, when you really understand that you got to make your way over to Overlook.
Exactly, and they're going to have to watch their back. I think that's the main thing, is you're going to have teams that maybe try to rotate over from No Name and make their way up that hill, but that's not going to be that likely. If anything, they're going to be Valkyrie ultiming all the way around. But with Caustic again falling out of the meta, someone's going to have to hold this down by themselves too. There's no Bloodhound scans. There's not many Bloodhounds, if any Bloodhounds in this lobby right now. So it all comes down to just your overall map knowledge and your awareness, looking for the sound cues, et cetera, et cetera. So it seems like Impulse, since he's got the most mobility, is going to be kind of big chilling over here, making sure that he's watching those angles. And then it'll probably be someone like Rakanishu who watches out in the open, because he's going to want to be ADSing, maybe sniping with every type of long range weapon that he has. Hell, check out the scenery, check out the rocks. Maybe he enjoys a good hike.
Yeah, I like that, but it does serve a purpose, right? Because you talked about it yourself. The Valkyrie ultimates, we've seen the geyser rotates from this angle coming around this mountainside, and so he needs to keep an eye on it for now. My big question is, there anyone inside that beacon building? And it looks like surprisingly no. So TSM have so much ground to work with. They're playing off the yellow tankers, but they have full control over the backside of Overlook currently, so they will have access to try and get that beacon. But I mean, honestly, we've seen this circle so many times. There's maybe like a 20% chance it pulls down to No Name. More often than not, it's going to be pulling over here to Overlook. So TSM are just running the numbers here.
In terms of the Overlook zones, I mean, like you were saying, small chance it pulls down over towards No Name. And there's also a small chance that it pulls over towards Complexity, and that's why Complexity is kind of big chilling over there, just in case it ends up kind of where those mountain ranges are, little small mounds. So definitely watch out for that. But look at Rakanishu. He's starting to advance. There's some fighting going on between Renegades and possibly Verholst with TSM.
Oh, looks like Renegades actually just fly by, and they'll take that open spot over at the beacon building. Small little thing to note there, Imperial Hal actually Arcstars himself on top of that yellow tanker, just in case he gets 3-man dropped on. There's a knock coming out. The Wingman, you said it yesterday, Tom. Love to see the Wingman back in play. That Wingman PK, well, I guess it's a Wingman master for them, as Imperial Hal is going to try and punish them with this port, getting on top of them. But the bubble res already came out for them. The tether goes down, and Madness answers back, taking out Hal. Reps needs to instantly bubble res here. They're just hoping no one takes the port, but it looks like both teams are now going to be okay, just trading away the knocks, and TSM have less ground to work with.
I mean, that's how you play it, though, and Hal's doing that basically to perfection. From the portal, the initial knock right there into the portal, portal's directly at the door, comes and peeks, but the res just happens so instantly, and they understand, hey, TSM is going to go and collapse on this. The problem is, you can't full send everybody from TSM into that spot because you run your spot potentially getting taken. So Hal has to do that by himself, and he has to make some sort of big play. But he jumps over, the wall after he hits his first massive shot to hit another one for 77. But at that point, it was a 3v1, and there's nothing that you can do when you have a team that skilled shooting one player. So great job getting back into the portal, great immediate bubble res, and also great discipline to keep at least 1 or 2 players sitting there anchoring. But Team Esports Arena, they could be the kings of the rotation. I mean, look at this. You got Exodus basically here for Duplex. He's rocking the gold armor, gold helmet. He may even have a gold bag.
Yeah, we know that Team Esports Arena, they're more than okay with taking the very long routes into the ring and just hugging it. They're not actually like playing edge. They're just playing slow, playing it until around ring number 3 where they can Valkyrie ultimate into what they consider is going to be the best spot for that as they move forward. They did end up getting one member of Xset. I don't know if they were able to recover the banner on the Xset side of Clane, but as Esports Arena move up, they do meet some resistance here in Geyser. There is a squad here. You see the purple armors. They're kind of spread out, trying to control space around that vault tunnel entrance. Duke, though, with the gold armor, will quickly be back into the fight now. As you can see, Skittlecakes and Noct have already made their way up to that building, challenging for the check. They've got the blue armor, so they've got a pretty decent understanding what this fight is going to look like now as Renegades end up taking out Cloud9. Alberlele died to a fault. What happened?
I don't know. I think he may like skydiving and then forgot he was playing Pathfinder or something along those lines, but Renegades is going to take that 10 times out of 10. Unfortunate mistake right there. They're probably either raging about it or laughing at it at that point. And if it's game number 1, probably a good little laugh there coming in from Alberlele. But Complexity, they're coexisting with a team down below. And I think this is a really smart rotation going forward. And that's definitely something that newer players need to play and watch what Complexity is doing. It's not easy to make their way all the way in here. Not only that, they bullied this team out of the high ground and now have owned this building. So really nice job from Complexity making their way in there. That fight is happening still over towards the Geyser side. Skittlecakes with the flat line. We saw him avoiding that defensive bombardment. He gets the knock right there and potentially is going to be able to push on over towards the tunnel side. Impulse with a double right there, and that's going to finish off the rest of Team Nerf. Now you're going to have Esports, you're going to have to rotate in after this fight, and they're going to have a straight up 3v3.
Ghosts actually end up showing up and stealing away that last kill. Remember, Ghosts were setting up in this position very early on, and so they do get those kills for themselves at the very least. And now, Esports Arena, kind of in a difficult position here. We talked about it. You can't make that Valkyrie rotate around from Geyser into the Overlook side, but we saw the amount of fighting that took place there. Renegades are already pulled up in the backside along with TSM, and it looks like it's going to be a full fight. Esports Arena pushing up, the nades out, bubbles from either side as the Nox gas grenade might be going down very shortly. Hitting for the gold armor, 6 knows that he needs to heal immediately up against that trade as Esports Arena start backing away. The bubbles go down, the gas does tick away just for a little bit, but it does look like both sides are just going to go ahead and slow things down here. Now, Esports Arena do have to worry. We did get to see through that X-ray another team showing up, and it looks like they're just going to go ahead and call it. They're going to make that rotate out, maybe even take a pit stop over at No Name. We'll see what the pathing is looking like, and no, this is a full commit on to the Overlook side.
I like that play. I mean, it's risky, and that's what Hal was looking for. Nice shots coming in. CLG now flanking around. I wonder if that happened just a little bit earlier, if they're going to push inside of the tunnel right there. Now Esports Arena could have came through, but they are going for that long flank like you were talking about. And now CLG, after that 50-50, it just feels so nice to watch Xset and CLG just back off from that and give themselves an opportunity to pick up some points, because I really think that's where the big learning curve is going to come for these guys after they've already mastered what they need to over towards that Harvester side. But Tech's taking a lot of damage at the top of these epicenter hills, and now it looks like the bubble's going to have to come out there, and they're going to have to re-heal. But the defensive bombardment's down. You see the fires down for the fuse for Zeratricky as well. This is not a good spot to be in once your bubble's down.
Tech did not get that medkit off, surprisingly enough. He ended up getting pushed here. It's going to be Team Liquid right on top of them. We see that they are on a sliver of HP, but he gets a big shot with that PK. Furia knocked out by Team Liquid. as Gilderson's was really the only one that took the bulk of the damage there for them. Furia going down just out of placement points as well. Renegades in another fight, as it looks like Atlanta Premier were trying to push them in the backside of Overlook. 2 of them going down, and it looks like Renegades might be able to pick up a 6th kill of the game.
Renegades looking good so far, but we got to talk about those PK shots coming in from Fun, the patience there. The big play was what you were talking about, the medkit not going off. If that medkit comes out, it makes things a little bit easier. Hal's going to be continuing to bully people with the wingman as he gets a couple knocks onto the Razor squad. And look at this charge rifle. It can't get any more annoying for CLG, especially when they're in the middle of a team fight with Team Intel, as OXG's now popping off in the kill feed. And like you were saying, Jamerson, a lot of these teams were going to be safe from round 3. Now round 4 comes around, and all hell is starting to break loose. All these teams that started to gatekeep, now all the desperation started to set in for the teams that don't have a position. And it looks like TSM potentially could have been bullied out of their spot by Team Esports Arena if they took the high ground on the jungle gym with the takers.
Yeah, they're stuck on the low ground here, and this is going to be a difficult rotate out for them because they do need access to some vision to the height if they want to rotate out of this one. They've got, it looks like, a team just above them, and a team that's also on the inside track for that rotate. Now Team Liquid still on terror right now, and it looks like Verholst will go for that challenge on the tanker now. Esports Arena probably on the other side of this one. Here goes Verholst, as he does just bully them out with his presence alone. He's got the angle, but Hal goes down. They do trade away for Madness. Now multiple teams in the area here, but they understand they've got the man advantage, and here we go. Verholst gets that one clip, takes him out, and they get the res onto Hal. This is going to be a much easier rotate now, along with the options that TSM have to work with, but instantly the third party's coming out from another team as they're making their way across the corner. They've lost the high ground now. Verholst is going to look to try and retake it at this point, but he needs the help of his team. He needs to draw some attention away. It's Complexity on the other side of this one, pushing forward. Reptar gets the knock onto Reps, and the only answer back is the knock onto Monsoon so far. TSM knocked out by Complexity, but it's another third party. Gibraltar defensive bombardment goes down as Shiny goes for that res. It looks like they'll get it off in time. It's Atlanta Premier trying to answer back throughout this one, never able to recover Ronnie. As a 2-man now, they're fighting up against the 3-man of Complexity. Like on this one.
Looks like Valkyrie's there, so the defensive barter does go down. Oh, they're gonna Valkyrie out of there. Absolutely crazy that they blew them out with just 2 players. Can we talk about the fight that happened between Complexity and TSM though? That was an absolute bloodbath. You saw Monsoon was like, all right, I'm gonna full send on this one, and then Hal hit the craziest strafe of all time while he was fighting 2 players, but they were able to close things out. And you love when you're able to just as a 2-man pick up all this loot there for free and potential kills coming through. With the drone coming up any second now, they may be able to get in a little bit extra information as you can just toss that one around the corner now and get that information instead of actually going into the drone, which is a huge update for our crypto players. So I'm glad to see crypto getting back into style here in Series Z. CLG now looking good. They have Black Market Boutique if they want to go and use that one. Great head glitch coming through. Just one more shot. How is that player not dead?
I don't know. Mamba is asking the exact question. There's Nano, though, trying to pick up by himself. He ends up going down. No, never mind. He somehow survives throughout all of that with about 5 HP here. Vacho is covering his angle as he tries to hit that heal. Battery goes off. That's going to be Complexity getting knocked out. CLG pick up those kills for themselves. I believe Exet might be out, or they might have just res Klain. I'm not entirely too sure. Would love to check in with them, but we cannot, as Team Liquid are now forcing the issue right on top of CLG. And again, just like that, the fight is over. These third parties are coming so fast.
Something's, up with this Team Liquid squad. I feel like there's been a big change in the amount of aggression that they're having, the teamwork, the confidence. Seems like the communication is at an all-time high for this squad. So I'm glad to see Team Liquid coming into good form in our first game here, especially on World's Edge. We'll see what they're going to be able to do for game number 2 and 3, and then when we switch on over to Storm Point. But OXG, they are alive and well. I believe that they were taken out a little bit early, and then they got the res back up onto Protectful. They also have a decent amount of assists in the back. Kubsky, formerly of Flashpoint, so excited to see what they're going to be able to do. Now Aiden getting extremely aggressive. They are low on cells right now, though, so that seems to be the only problem. Interesting bubble, a little bit too early right there as Kubsky's way too far up. and now Team Liquid's going to be back down. Triple red armors going against purple, so a little bit of an advantage here to Team Liquid. And Nocturnal, he's going to be on the run. They have to get into the zone right here. That is a huge portal right on over towards that drop. That could buy a little bit extra time. Remember, Bursty, he was knocked down by Hal a little bit earlier. He's trying to survive up on over towards the mountain, and now whoever has their bubble is going to have a huge advantage. Dre with the shots, but that's not going to be enough. This is an absolutely crazy circle 5.
Right now, Team Liquid, though, are still coming up with some of the kills as they pick up 2 for the very off of Team Oxygen. And now we're down to 4 squads remaining, but it's 9 players left. 3 players are currently missing out of the lobby, so a lot of damaged squads. You can see it looks like Atlanta Premier still as a 2-man. That means we've got another 2-man running around at this point, and it might just be a 3v2, v2v2 in favor of Team Liquid as long as they don't lose Nocturnal. They've got a little bit of coverage to work off of here. Metkid getting handed off as well, and you can see almost every team is struggling in the meds department. So few teams were able to actually recover the loot that they got because there was so much fighting on the scramble, and somehow the 2-man is surviving there. Rakinishu steals away that kill onto Scissors, but Fun will go ahead and answer right on back. Team Liquid are having a monstrous game right now. There's still 3 players left in the lobby for them to pick up. You can see Impulse up top with no armor. Atlanta Premier have hit top 3 as a 2-man as well. Now they're just trying to finish it all off. It looks like just a lone Crypto somewhere as well. Team Liquid, understand the position they're in. It's a power position for them. This is going to be a big game. Number 1, it should be a 25, 27-point game for Team Liquid.
And I'm sure we have a lot of talented players in our chat, but just pay attention to how Nocturnal is taking all of these angles from one crate to the next, one cover to the next, one head glitch to the next. He's not just running in the middle of the map like a stupid noob. He's actually just playing this to the T right now. The Apex couldn't be any better for Team Liquid. The only thing that they need to do is stick a little bit closer to Fun, or Fun needs to push up, and they're going to be A-okay for this final 3v2.
It's a 3v2, but Atlanta Premier are putting up a little bit of a fight. Nocturnal doing a great job of just trying to bait them out of position. Now, there's actually a chance for Team Liquid to just run in with the bubble in 3v1 and take 2 separate 3v1s to finish this off instead of risking anything at all. They've even got some nades to spare throughout all of this, but yeah. We're just waiting for the bubble forward for that last moment. Maybe Team Liquid aren't sure if it's a 3-man or if it's 2-man, but there it is. They find the isolated player. They go ahead and take him out first. That's going to be quick going down. Even the quick armor swap for Nocturnal. You got to keep your wits about you at all points in the game. And Team Liquid will have a huge game number 1 with that victory.
Yeah, you saw Nocturnal was so confident that he wanted to just continue to push, and maybe he was able to get the knock by himself. But they had discipline. They backed off. They made sure that they took the time to wait for Fun's bubble to come back up. And like you said, they were just trying to find those 2 separate 3v1s. No better way to do it than just isolate one player, drop the bubble right there, take him down, and then force the other player into the bubble. Perfect execution towards the end of the game.
Yeah, Team Liquid definitely looking rejuvenated here, and you mentioned it at the start of the show that we're really looking forward to see what these roster swaps means for our squad so far. It's pretty good signs for Team Liquid. We're going to go ahead and take a short break now, though, and when we get back, we'll have game number 2 of Series E right after this.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Get the bars to the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
game number 1 all set there, and it goes to Team Liquid. A lot of interesting sightlines in that late circle, creating a lot of chaos between the 6 teams that got in there, and Liquid is the only team that leaves with a victory. Of course, you heard Jamerson and T-Squared talking about all of the roster swaps, and of course, Team Liquid, one of those squads affected by it. Flanker stepping aside, Gilderson's coming in to compete for the team, and I would say the early returns looking good here. I'm curious to see how they will perform the rest of tonight and in the Pro League this weekend, but at the very least, they have started strong. Let's check out our first player of the game for tonight's competition. And it's going to go to Fun here with a big performance. 7 kills and 7 assists. And just shy of 3,000 damage there. 2,816 on the Gibraltar. Of course, they were going up in the 3v2 versus Atlanta Premier, and it looked like possibly Atlanta Premier was going to be able to make something happen there. They had the Crypto Ultimate, they had the defensive bombardment coming out, but thankfully Team Liquid had just enough breathing room to back away, get off the bats that they needed, and take the fight at an advantage, and they come out on top. So big win for TL to start off Pro Night here, and we'll have to see who can try and chase them down as the night continues, and we'll see how it goes. We are going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, game number 2 when we return.
Welcome back to Series E. In game number 1, Team Liquid were able to take the first victory of the day. The big question is, how many kills did they end up getting? Because we saw in that second half of the game, they were fragging pretty prevalently. So let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where they stand now is up against the rest of the lobby. And oh my goodness, I said maybe it was going to be a 27-point game. No, it was a 29-point game for Team Liquid. That's 17 kills that they got here on Pro Night, Tom.
We're talking about who's going to be the king of that rotation right there, and it ends up being Team Liquid. You can get so many kills on the Overlook side, but it ends up being just a wild time, and that's what we saw right there from Team Liquid. Let's take a look at the Mobile 1 high performance moment and see if that was them over towards the tail end of things, because I got to say, Nocturnal's wingman, chef's kiss.
Yeah, it looked fantastic. I mean, we got to see a whole display, and right there, it looked like that when someone calls one shot, literally right there, that was one shot away from getting that knock. But CLG were still able to ultimately take advantage. It got a little dicey for Nano there, but they end up taking that win. But throughout all that, Team Liquid were laying in wait right after this, I believe, to come in to try and third party. But while CLG did end up winning the fight, it was Team Liquid on the same rotate on that northern side that ended up rolling through and picking up a majority of the kills right here.
Yeah, it was so impressive just to watch how they were working together. Everyone was spacing themselves out really well. They were never really in major danger. And when you looked at everyone else's screen, it seemed like everyone else was really struggling. They were down a player. They were fairly weak. They were getting res. They were getting third and fourth party. To me, whenever you look at something like that, that doesn't just show experience, but I'm going to reiterate communication, because you cannot know what to do and you can't communicate the right thing unless you actually know what the plan is going to be. So I feel like they took control of things. Nocturnal's really stepping it up in terms of commanding his team, and everyone's really following suit. And they're playing as a unit, and they got rewarded big time. I mean, 29 points in one game on our pro day is a significant amount.
Yeah, and speaking of, communication and preparation, when we had the crypto in play for Atlanta Premier, they did end up getting second place overall. And I mean, we saw, like, as a two-man, they somehow bullied, I believe it was Complexity, to just go ahead and use that Valkyrie redeploy. And from that position, they were able to play out of second, surprisingly enough. But here we go. Heading into the second game of the day, back on World's Edge, we had two 50-50s taking place, but we're joining on board with Team Liquid, of course, in their old stomping grounds. They've been here for so long. I mean, 2 years we've been, or 2.5 years we've been playing on World's Edge, and here they are in Skyhook, of course.
Yeah, Skyhook getting their loot, having the rotations go through. Keep in mind, that's not close to where Overlook is. I mean, it's decent in terms of the amount that you have to rotate and the amount of teams that you have because of the congestion over the south side is a little bit greater. But here's the 50-50 again. XSET versus CLG, a little bit of deja vu. It seems like CLG is favoring over towards the side and XSET's favoring on over towards the middle. But this technically ends up into a bubble-to-bubble fight right now. Without a secondary weapon, that makes things fairly tough. And there's that second bubble coming out. You can see the bait and switch coming on between all of the players. One player extends a little bit too far into the bubble and gets punished for that right now. It seems like CLG has the armor advantage.
They got the armor advantage and the health advantage. So much damage being done by this alternator. No secondary for them, unfortunately, but CLG are still starting to win out the trades until Nano takes massive damage there, and that's where you call it. You're just going to go ahead and run. We'll see if Vatra is going to be able to rejoin with his squad, but it looks like XSET want to give chase. They are starting to position for themselves to actually chase them down, but right now, either side, I think they understand. They have about 20 more seconds of fighting left in them before they have to call it here, but at this point, XSET might just have them cornered today. They might have to just commit. Here's the other 50-50 taking place. Team Intel right now down at Thermal versus Prodigy Ace's squad, and it looks like, actually, I believe Prodigy Aces and Nestle were challenging Furia before. So, change up in drop spots there. XSET losing out on one. Clay needs to answer back. Nothing yet. There we go. Getting Nano down. But CLG will end up taking them out. And this is more about sending a message than anything else for CLG as they get that +3.
Or leaking a message. But great job by CLG. I mean, you do chase that down. You feel pretty confident right there. But I believe it was the Black Market Boutique that really switched things up. Whether they got some armor swaps, they got extra ammo that they needed. Whatever that was very nicely done by Mama to run back, kind of bait and switch with the rest of the team and make sure that they had enough resources to go and finish that fight. Nice job by CLG. But like you said, that timer, it's ticking, right? Teams are already starting to rotate through. You got to watch out for where this zone's going to be and how contested things are going to be over towards this side. And I think they forgot about their boy down at the bottom of Thermal Station.
Boy, I will leave the lobby right now. Get me up. It looks like Team Intel, they're really spread out, by the way. Take a look. One's all the way off to the west. One's all the way to the east. I'm wondering if, there might be another team that might be showing up here.
Oh.
An Aaron Bocek bow arrow, and there it is. There's a Gibraltar. Mooney might have the flank on him to try and go up, or is Mooney just going to heal up? So it's going to be a 2v2 over here.
Though. Yeah, Mooney's getting angled. He's going to end up bleeding out. And because of the bleed out right there, they're going to realize that, oh, man, this is a two-man squad, so they could potentially push this one. So he didn't get bailed on, but now Fearless is going to have to pull something pretty ridiculous with Mooney. Maybe it's going to be all the way towards the back. They Valkyrie skyward dive in there as we take a look at the zone. Ooh, this is a tricky zone, Jamerson. I mean, it kind of screams Harvester, but you very rarely see a zone like this kind of in the middle of zone number one.
Yeah, this is insane because this can pull away towards the respawn beacon in between Harvester and staging. This can still pull over towards the eastern side of Harvester, or even smack dab in the middle of Harvester. There's a ring to the south. So this is one of those rings where slow playing it is going to work out into your favor. This is, I think, one of those rings that really does favor a team like Esports Arena that want to have full information before they commit to a spot, because you can easily set yourself up in a death trap, setting up early here in ring number 1 right now. TSM making the rotate into Harvester now, and they're learning that lesson the hard way. Hal's gonna have to port them out. He's not even full HP. Verhul still getting tagged up, trying his best to heal, but that's a great port to get his squad out. But now you also have to worry about the uncleared land to your south. TSM are just gonna back down, but Madness gets the knock onto Raps, and it looks like Renegades might spell the end of TSM once again.
Just look how talented all the players are. I mean, Hal's taking a really smart head glitch. He's ripping these players. He's barely missing. I don't know how those are hitting for 12s, but he's losing a majority of his health because whoever's hitting those shots on the opposite side is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But there's the res back on the Reps. He has the bubble. Madness ends up putting the arc start at the end of the portal, which was very well placed. But the cover from Hal right there and the presence of mind to not fully heal while his teammates down was absolutely genius. A lot of players were just sat there, healed up, said Verhul, so you end up covering him right there. Hal understands the situation, how important it is to lay down that cover fire. He's going to bring them to an unorthodox spot, but we've seen TSM hold these crevices before when they made that amazing jump pad rotation from a couple ALGSs ago. Intel looks like they're getting into the skirmish up on top of the thermal station side. It's up to Fearless. He has no HP. The other player was fairly weak. One more shot could have did it, but Excedrin is going to be rewarded with 2 kills.
Yeah, enemy holding up top with his squad. All the loot up there for them now, and they're desperately going to need it because they all need to heal. It was super close. Take a look. Enemy was actually fairly close to going down as well. Despite on the other side, only being down to about 10 HP, it was still extremely close. But for Excedrin, luckily for them, this fight takes long. Thermal usually takes a long time to loot as well, so they're not really hampered on their rotation. The ring is just to their northeast right now, and I think they might be happier being able to play the edges on this one. It was hard to see, but they did pick up a beacon. I don't know if it's the beacon to their west or if it's the beacon to their south. But with this ring, they can play either one. So I think they can just take their time and not rotate early on here. So they'll continue their looting for now. They get the +3. They even get the replicators to play off of as well. So all things looking up for Team Excedrin as we join on board with Team Liquid. They're just on the outskirts of Landslide and Countdown now as they start moving their way on up. They've got a team completely split up, Tom.
Yeah, I would not want to be messing with this team right now. Great bubble, though, to try to get on over towards the portal, but they have eyes on the portal. There goes the knock. It's on to Shiny. We'll see what they're going to do on the opposite side of the Complexity team, but man, Nocturnal is on top of things, and that 2x just absolutely rips with the R301. Still one of the best guns in the game. R301 PK, I feel like this is the ideal combination right here coming in from Nocturnal. The only problem that I see, the man's going to run out of ammo if he just keeps ripping people apart like that.
Yeah, he is caught in that ring of fire, but really not taking any damage whatsoever for it, as Nock will be able to get that thirst onto Shiny. So Complexity down to a 2-man, as it looks like TSM ended up rotating out over towards that thermal station side and taking out Excedrin. We're down to 16 squads as round 1 just finished up closing. Team Liquid still on the move, making their way on down towards a hot springs for some additional loot. Surprised that they didn't try and chase a little bit more for Complexity, but I think getting that kill is more than enough for them right now, especially after their great game number 1.
If you are going to be playing over towards the Skyhook side, since you are most likely not going to be getting a lot of zones that pull over towards Skyhook, we've seen a lot of Monana zones going on over towards the south side over and over again. So I think that this is a great composition with a double rotation. If you are going to do anything, it's got to be Valkyrie, Gibby, and then either Wraith, or it's got to be Ashe. And the way that Nocturnal's playing Wraith right now, just continuing to put in serious work. We saw the wingman usage in the previous game, showcasing that he's just not a one-gun pony in terms of the way that he's going to approach these situations.
Yeah, it's great to see Nocturnal back on that Wraith. You know, the Valkyrie, he looked fantastic on the Valkyrie, but he always looked at home when he was on the Wraith, being able to make that shot calling from that IGL position as a Wraith. You know, this is what was standard for Apex Legends for so long. So it just feels like he's back in his wheelhouse now, making their way through Thermal Station. They understand they don't really want to fight for a position inside Harvester right now, like a lot of other teams find how difficult it can be. Team Vizio, though, is one of those squads that kind of live in that chaos. When they find themselves in the center zone, they somehow eke out a really strong position for themselves. Here comes the rotate. What do they see? A lot of shots coming their way, but really no damage until they get near landing. And they're going to take a similar pit stop to TSM down in this crevice for the time being. Nice thing for them, though, is that the Black Market Boutique is well within range to be utilized here. So if anyone ends up leaving loot on the ground, that's going to be stolen up really quickly for Vizio.
You got to love the thought process between these top teams, right? Vizio following steps just like TSM was doing, and right on cue here, looks like the Black Market Boutique should be going down fairly soon, but they want to make sure that they're going to be in a good spot, that they're not going to be getting shot at. But I don't think Bocheck Eva 8 would be my go-to combo in these type of situations. I don't think Fury is that interested in that either, but the Valkyrie missile barrage coming around the corner, and right now they're just going to be playing a game of dodgeball. So it's just about staying alive as long as possible, letting other teams make mistakes. Maybe another team will fly in and you pick up some free kill points along the way. But as long as you don't get just completely set on by all of the teams and your bubble doesn't get used for no reason, then you should be in a pretty good spot for Vizio.
Yeah, we still have 16 teams alive. The lobby is relatively healthy. A lot of teams still around. So no one can really just peek down there for free. So they should be able to survive for the time being. Team Nerf now finding themselves smack dab in the middle of Harvester. They do have access to that replicator if they need to use it. Here comes Team Esports Arena. They've got that Ring 3 information, or they should at the very least, and they do. And it looks like it is going to be pulling down to the southwest side of Harvester this time around. So that respawn beacon not quite in play, but that's the building that they're going to try and push for, not taking a lot of damage on that landing. But they get this high ground outside of Harvester, and they should be able to survive here for some time.
Yeah, I love to see Skittlecakes continue to play on this Caustic too. We talk about it fairly often here in Series E that if you are the only specific legend that's being played, especially if you're a Caustic, that tends to be a little bit more in your strengths, because it's only the only enemy Caustics can push through your gas for free. So Skittlecakes, that was a thought process for them in the previous game when they were trying to push, and they got bullied out by Ghost Game and had to go back on around over towards the Overlook side. It was all about Skittlecakes kind of doing that entry frag, since Noct doesn't have any opportunity to go and push like that. So now you see Duplex locking things down with the Gibraltar up top. Nice shots with the R301 with the 3X temporarily, though, but there's that missile barrage that's so annoying to go and deal with, and now they're going to have to back off and heal because there's going to be teams coming up from behind. Great barrel placement there from Skittlecakes to give them information.
Yeah, gold armor for Duplex, though, so he's quickly back into it. Plenty of cells, 9 left. So 2 stacks and 1 errant 1, as we do have, it looks like a drop coming down for them. Replicator coming in, so might be able to play off that if they need additional heals later on. But we know how strong a position this is. This is the ultimate high ground around all of Harvester here, and it's all about controlling basically every entryway to it. So they're keeping an eye on the tunnels. They're keeping an eye on, they understand that there is a team over at that respawn beacon as well. Now the big question is, there we go, perfect, thank you, production. That ring is pulling continuously to the western side of Harvester now, as Furia end up getting into a fight outside of the tunnels that we were just talking about. This might mean Esports Arena come in for the third party. That's Complexity getting cleaned up. No one on Furia going down is the most important part. Esports Arena have no avenue to try and take advantage of this one, as Pan instantly takes that high ground for them. Great plays coming out from Furia. Great awareness coming out from Panders as well to make sure that he retakes height and make sure no one pushes as his team heals.
Yeah, also pay attention to the missile barrage that he shot and over towards the choke there, just in case any team was to push over there, using that kind of a grenade to cut off angles. And a lot of times people use grenades, you know, to try to get people from behind rocks, use grenades to entry frag into doorways so they can push into buildings. a lot of times you can also use it to just cut people off and make sure that your teammates are going to be safe. That was exactly what he was doing right there. So nice job from Panders. And it looks like they're celebrating over the bodies there with the sickest Gibraltar skin, man. That new Gibraltar skin is just so good.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, what I'm wondering about this setup for this fight was, did they see Shiny getting res? Did they understand that whoever that team was going to be coming in very damaged because of that? Probably a white armor off that res as well. And how much of it was set up? Now, they have to rotate. They do have the Valkyrie ultimate to be able to utilize here. Is that some stick drift that's going on? It's hard to tell, but they do have that option. It's going to be difficult, though. We still have 15 teams alive, 100 Thieves just playing off the edge. They're down here at Thermal Station right now, as they do have a team above them that have to drop down. This is a very scary situation for Cloud9. Zach Mazur's almost been taken out, but somehow he survives. The shot's not connecting for Onmu, and Cloud9 have turned it around on them. The Black Hole's gone down as well, catching no one in it, as Stay Naughty is going to try and dodge that Gibraltar defensive bombardment. Cloud9 have just retaken away this position, and they're going to push forward to try to get the rest of these kills, but it looks like that 2-man is running into another 3-man. Albralele connects onto Vax, and now it's a race to see who can pick up that last kill.
Things get crazy over here, but I'm kind of have an idea in terms of what you should be doing when... Oh, nice shots there with Stay Naughty. Holy cow, the bubble goes away, and now they may continue to push things over here. Umbrella, he's pissed that he fell off the map previously. He's ready for some more blood. C9 is not messing around. It's also cool to see Zach Mazur busting out the horizon. But Jamerson, when you have like two weapons, right, and say one is a wingman and the second one is a shotgun, if you're not shooting an automatic weapon on the players that are falling, then by the time that they land, you have to reload. And I think that's what happened there with 100 Thieves, is they were trying to shoot the players as they were falling, because they whiffed all their shots, which are extremely hard to hit on those players falling, by the way. It almost seems like it's better to wait for them to land, wait for them to get that gun punch, focus on which player you want to go for, and then once that one player lands, everyone starts to burst fire onto them. They're stuck reloading, stuck split right there, and 100 Thieves gets punished big time for it. Fun! Our MVP from the previous game trying to put in some work over towards this building. This building is extremely popular. This could potentially get third-partied anytime. Nocturnal's going to have to queue out, but he has the gold armor. He's going to try to stay alive around the corner. This is going to be stunning with the initial knock in Wingman season. They're so healthy. I'd be shocked if they lose this fight.
Yeah, Team Liquid getting knocked out. Unfortunately, they're able to buy enough time. Those scans really stopping the push of Team Liquid. I like the movement that they made. As soon as the bubbles and the thermites were going down, they had to reapproach it instead of trying to play for that 50-50 once the bubbles fell. They wanted to try and maybe utilize the doors and the geography a little bit more there, but fortunately, the information was in the hands of Zednam. He had those Beast of the Hunt scans going down off of cooldown, and everything was shown. So Team Liquid are winners of game number 1, going down early. Cloud9, though, still in this protracted engagement up against Furia, and they're starting to lose out. They're cowering in a corner. Zach Mazur is stuck on the low by himself. He does have the gravity lift to try and reconnect with them, as Cloud9 do buy time with that bubble, but now they've jumped down onto the low with very little cover. Furia could have jumped down onto them. They're going to allow them to rotate. There's 26 seconds left to go, and Furia have a nice choke point to play off of. Inside of Harvester, though, Atlanta Premier find themselves in a small fight. There might be a team completely cornered, stuck down on the low, sneaking in the Arc Stars through that bubble. Big 72 hit with that Peacekeeper, and now they're going to go ahead and knock out Impulse, but another team is showing up from that high ground. That's Esports Arena, I believe. Should have been able to get a knock onto one. That is Skill Cakes actually taking out one, as TSM starting to push up. They're taking back their old crevice away from Team Vizio here. 2 already gone. There's only 1 remaining. TSM are just happy to take that team fight win and survive this defensive bombardment.
Unfortunately, right there, Atlanta Premier could have slid down through the defensive bombardment up on top of the rock there, bought themselves a little bit more time to potentially save one of their teammates. But the Atlanta Premier logo, let's talk about that. That thing is absolutely dope, as Esports Arena is starting to push into this bubble. Look how healthy they are, not coming through with the shots, just making things look easy. And you know it's easy when you don't lose any HP. The armor swaps coming in for free right there. What a job from Esports Arena. That's a tough team to take out without losing any HP or health. and now TSM trying to survive in this crevice, but it doesn't look like it's going to be for long unless Hal can do something miraculous over here, which he does all the time. The grenade is so well placed. It looks like there's multiple players in the vicinity. That's going to be Fury coming up on top. You still have Hal alive as well. This is a 1v1v1, and Hal ends up coming out on top. Will they have a mobile respawn beacon? That could be a win for TSM if they could get that respawn in on time. But you see, with 15 seconds left here, it takes about 10 seconds to lay it down, plus 10 seconds to get the res in. Everyone has to loot too. Looks like we may have Hal being a Tomcat rat just for temporary.
They have hit top 4 at the very least. It's going to be a 3v1 in the end. G7 scout for Vatro here as well. You can see how much open ground there is. Esports Arena are still over by that respawn beacon, should be making their way on in now. As Skittle Kicks, actually, never mind, here's Esports Arena. They have actually made the rotate in. They're on top of the Harvester's second floor for themselves. So all 3 of our 3-men snacked on top of each other. And we'll see if anyone keeps an eye on Hal. If there is an opportunity, he might be able to get that respawn beacon down if he has one.
I feel like he's going for it, honestly, because he went into the black market, and then you saw all of those reses that were coming through, too, or all the, excuse me, not the reses, the armor swaps that were coming through. And if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Hal. He understands how important it is to get his teammates back in, not just for the presence, if they can't even get the weapons, just so you can actually bait them. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, you can see in the mini-map that the lava and the crevice is going to be in. And this could force the action from the rest of the teams as soon as those players start to land. The big problem is as soon as Reps lands, he's going to have the cooldown for the bubble. He's not going to be able to get that one immediately. So we'll have to see what happens with TSM going forward.
Yeah, it looks like we lost one of our observers, and it's hard to tell because from the angle that we were watching from Esports Arena, you had the 2 mobile, the spawned respawn beacons, right? And he does. This angle definitely gives us confirmation. He does get that mobile respawn beacon down, and every team wants these kills. You can see Noct is trying to creep his way up there. CLG are keeping an eye on it right now. They don't have any nades to throw down, but he is going to go ahead and spawn back in Verholst and Reps. Their bodies weren't too far off. There might be an opportunity for him to get it. He might even get the 1 clip. Oh my god!
Oh,
does he go down? He hits for the 10. Noct goes down to Sorcerer, but he is in a recoverable position. He is
naked
in a
and afraid.
recoverable position. Never mind, he got thirsted.
Reps, naked and afraid, trying to stay alive. There's nothing you could have done right there. And Hell's like, I didn't get you back up for this, man, just for your knockdown shield. They probably should have just waited a little bit longer, a little bit slow on the communication for when that portal was going to come. Super unfortunate that Hal only connected for the 10, but Verholst is going to go for that res. There's the bubble, which is extremely important. That's the main reason to get Reps back up over here. Just like we were saying, Hal needs these teammates to basically be bait and just to have the utility for them. And if he could force the action, they have the best side of the zone, Jamerson. Look at how they have all these 3 teams basically getting forced into each other until an amazing, I believe, Ash ultimate over towards the roof into a bubble. Not the roof, the top of this rock right here. Forces out the Q there, and now they focus down the team on top of there. Great job going into the portal. They still have a little bit of time left to go back through. Hal just playing a masterclass of Apex right now.
They secure top 3 with that as well. CLG knocking out the Renegades now. Team Esports Arena starting to push up. The bubble out from Reps will buy them a little bit more time, a little bit more space. They're letting the lobby do the rest of the work for them. CLG still on top of that height, and they end up taking out Verholst here. Imperial Hal trying to buy more and more time. He got another Wraith Q off, drops down. There is a barrel he has to contend with, though. Skittle Cakes trying his best to take him out, and unfortunately for Hal, he's only got the PK left. There it is. TSM finally go down, but now CLG are given the HP advantage. They drop down, but it doesn't matter. Duplex gets the knock, finally traded back, and Mamba with almost no HP left with his partner in tow will be able to finish off Team Esports Arena and take the win.
What an ending right there. Great job by Hal trying to stay alive. The unfortunate thing right there is Hal couldn't juggle any armors or weapons for his teammates. I thought when he was sitting there the entire time, maybe he was slowly putting a lot of loot there for where he was going to put that mobile respawn beacon. That could have potentially helped them out. But going through there and only having 2 players, that's that basically are running around without anything made it so much harder. But you saw the way that they approached the fight from all different perspectives. That is how Apex is played. I'm so glad that our pros are playing at the highest level right now. You have teams taking the high ground on top of the rock, teams focusing them after their bubble goes down, Esports Arena pushing around with great usage of the barrels there from Skittle Cakes. And unfortunately for them, they couldn't take down CLG, who has the home court advantage over at Harvester, so they didn't have to go that far for the win.
Yeah, remember, they were able to win that 50-50 as well, getting the +3 up against Xset and ultimately getting the win. So that's game number 2. We've got one left on World's Edge, and you're definitely not going to want to miss it. So we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll have game number 3 on World's Edge right after this.
We're going to do it in 3, 2, 1. First 2 games in the books and wins from a couple of the classic orgs competing here tonight. We started with Team Liquid and now CLG with the victory. Of course, I think just about everybody saw a very interesting thread on Twitter earlier this week all about the 50-50s over at Harvester, and CLG seemingly making quite a definitive statement here against Xset and grabbing that victory. Team Esports Arena was trying to get in for the 4th party that turned into a 3rd party, and the 2v3 almost went their way, but CLG still comes out on top. Let's check out our player of the game from this one. And then I want to take a little peek at the fantasy leaderboard for tonight, and it is going to go to Mamba. Of course, you guys well know Malice Mamba, former player here in Series Z. He was on Season 3 Team Splash, started off this season on Team Razor, and then joined CLG in this game on the Loba with 6 kills and 6 assists and over 1,500 damage. That's a huge game there for CLG. We saw after game 1, Team Liquid had put up 29 points, so that was a 17-kill performance from those boys. And CLG with, at the very least, 12 in this one is a very solid showing from them. But let's take an opportunity to check out that fantasy leaderboard. Of course, we encourage you all every single week to jump in on the fun on Twitter, pick your fantasy team for the day and see how they're doing. You can see how things have shaken out so far, and look at Steven Good going all in on CLG. We'll have to see how it pays off later, but I know if you guys have been watching throughout the season, picking the entire G2 roster has been pretty lucrative on multiple occasions, and Steven saying, hey, CLG tonight is their night, and we'll see how it pays off. Quite a bit of CLG representation up there. Fragment grabbing Nano as well. So make sure, if you missed out on this week, get in on the fun next week. We'll also have fantasy for Halo on Monday and Wednesday night, so make sure to check that out. Always trying to give you guys more opportunities to get in and interact with us and have some fun. So that is the standings there for fantasy so far, and through 2 games, I'm curious to see where our Mobile 1 leaderboard is at. We'll check that one out when we go back to Jamerson and T-Squared after this break.
One shot, not a future for sure. Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking. Yeah. One shot, not a future for sure. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the balls in the place. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the go. It's one shot, not a future for sure. Let's go.
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
Or no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. We had CLG taking the win in game number 2. It looked like they fragged pretty hard, so let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see exactly where they stand. Remember, Team Liquid had a 29-point game number 1. They went down a little bit earlier here in game number 2, only putting on 2 points. So CLG end up taking away that first place spot after 2 games.
Yeah, CLG's manager just said, hey, I want you guys to win this game. I want you guys to win Series E tonight. And they do what their manager wants them to do. That's a good team right there. But there's a lot of teams that are looking out for them and trying to catch up.
Yeah, they definitely looking like they deserve to belong on CLG. But Team Esports Arena and TSM not to be outdone, along with Atlanta Premier bringing up the rest of the pack right now. The middle of the pack fairly close after 2 games, and with 4 games left to go. We still have a lot more to see. I mean, especially when we hit up Storm Point on the second half. But it's all about who can take that last win in the first half here on World's Edge. Let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One high performance moment to see exactly what it was, honestly. It is going to be this last stand coming up from Imperial Hal. I mean, there is a reason why when Hal asks you for light ammo, you give him light ammo. He showed it on earlier. Right there, though, he was left with the PK, unfortunately. That was the only thing he had left. CLG making the drop down onto Team Esports Arena here for the win.
I was a little worried about the zone coming out and biting Mamba in the butt right there, but they do finish that one off. I was a little bit close there for a 2v3, but what a job from all of these teams towards the very end. That is a very unpredictable zone. We saw it was pulling over towards Harvester, but we know how many different Harvester zones there actually are. It ends out in the open right here. That high ground on top of the rock proves to be extremely useful. Renegades unfortunately got there a little bit too early. I think they went out in maybe like 4th or 5th spot, but they go up and they were the team that was kind of griefing a lot of the squads by being up there. Once their bubble went down, that's when all the focus switched on over to them. So the timing from CLG was on point.
Yeah, exactly. It's honestly, when it comes to these late games, we talk about it for all the time, right? Bubble timing. Whoever uses the bubble first is probably the first team that's going to die. And that's exactly what ended up happening to Renegades. TSM doing a great job. Remember, just before that, they were able to get the res off onto Verholst and Reps. The bubbles coming out from Reps, like you mentioned, were invaluable for their survival to be able to secure the top 3 instead of the top 4. So that was massive, massive gains coming out from TSM, keeping them well within the running with 4 games left to go. Love to see right now the high level of Apex Legends that we've been seeing. And it's only been 2 games so far tonight, Tom.
I feel like this has been the most kind of aggressive / well-played pro day that we've had in quite some time. I don't want to say ever, because we've had so many. It would be tough to say just after 2 games, and we've seen so many great games in Series E. But the level of competition that they're bringing to the table, you could see, teams that maybe have been at the bottom, like Splash, that's the new team that's coming forward. Nerf, who is looking so phenomenal yesterday. Just imagine a team like Nerf, who looked like they could potentially win yesterday. They don't even really have any points today, and that's how tough this lobby really is.
Yeah, here we go. Heading into World's Edge for the final time this week. CLG, the winners from game number 2. We get a look at how exactly this 50-50 takes place. You mentioned in game number 1, for XSET, it's about middle control for them. But right now for CLG, it's about taking all the cursory loot around and running off. They're not trying to get into this fight anymore. We'll see, though. Mamba might be able to find an opening. He got a lot of nades off. You mentioned it as well. In that fight, in that 50-50 engagement yesterday, or excuse me, in the game before, how crucial waiting out that black market boutique was.
It really was, and I think that's one of the adjustments that was so nice to CLG is Mamba going on over and picking up the Loba, but now they spread out just a little bit too much and immediately punish. You do have a 2v1 situation right here. Clarify and Clean aren't full health throughout all of this, but it's going to be tough to come through over here and take these players down. If the res goes on to Kenny, it's going to be virtually impossible. So now would be the time to push, and maybe it's now time to run. Look at the shots from Clean. R301 just ripping across the map in that medium range. The Loba Q. Oh, the shots before that, amazing. The shots after that, Clean wants back.
He was pretty far, though, heading into like that 50-60 meter range, and Clayne wants to finish him off again. It's about leaking those DMs. It's about making sure that the message is read, and you're not just left on red as well. You get that response, all right? Taking a look at the ring, though, it looks like we've got a fragment ring, and I'm loving it so far. We've had 3 separate rings so far, one at Harvester, one at Overlook, one now going over towards the fragment side. The big question is, will this be going over towards fragment east, or will it, of course, be favoring that fragment west side? We're looking at Market along with that broken bridge.
Broken Bridge, always a good one. Market, a good one. Definitely on point with your calls on that one, Jamerson. A little bit unpredictable. So the teams that I look for, as I look for Vizio. Vizio definitely getting in early. They're already making the rotation from Landslide. Teams like TSM, what do they do in these fragment circles? Sometimes they rotate out and they try to find kills along the way. Looks like this time they're continuing to loot up, and they're going to be big chilling over here. And what's the wait for? I'm missing something.
XSET are chasing Clayne all the way into Lava Siphon right now. They don't give a damn about the game. They are chasing him down into Nerf's territory. Multiple teams could be rotating through here, and they chase them all the way over here.
They got him, though, so that's going to be Mamba going out, and that's going to be CLG. I think Kenny was just looking for the good old crouch on top of the box, which is, seals the deal, right, for the rest of that fight, because you can't, lose the fight and then get crouched on and then win the next fight and not do the crouching. So I like the attitude coming in from XSET and CLG.
All right, we do have a fight. Furia over here at Lava. Fissure making the rotate around, but oh no, Tech's taking a lot of damage, and they need to force out a bubble or something. There it is, Zednim going down. Furia picking up one, buying time. as Tech does try his best to hold the line for his squad, forcing them down onto that stairwell. The nades are still coming in from Zera Tricky, but it doesn't seem like it's going to connect for him. He does have the knuckle clusters to try and do some damage, and that is some really good damage going across. That's the re-knock onto Zednim as well, forcing back the rest of the players of that squad. Noko is running back. You can see Zera wants to continue to chase. He's going to have the knuckle cluster for the door. That's going to be free entryway. Another nade coming in for Tech as they want to make their way on out. That's a big PK shot, followed by a little PK shot, but it's okay. They lose out on one as Noko is trying his best to fight back, but Panders will be able to finish him off. Furia taking out that squad. Wingman season was eliminated.
Nice job pushing in right there. Like you said, big PK shot connecting for 100. Not sure how the one hit for 9 after that, but either way, they'll go and take that one. The big thing there was Zera Tricky getting the knock, the re-knock, as you said, but it was the player that pushed up and got stuck with the knuckle cluster that ended up going back and burning the teammate. So that was so unfortunate there for the Wingman season squad. But there is Furia getting the 3 kills that they needed, and they're also going to be able to get that beacon scan and the Valkyrie rotation here very shortly. I'm surprised that that's not something that they've already done, and they're going to go for the crafting instead. So this seems to me that they're going to be just hard playing edge. There seems to be no rush making their way on over towards the fragment side. They got their kill points. They're just going to continue to get that loot.
Yeah, and Furia led by Tech. I mean, that's also a very similar strategy that they've used in the past. As Vizio get into an early fight with TSM, they got a knock onto Reps here, and Verholz pushes back, but he ends up going down. It's all up to Hal once again. Wingman in the hands of Fury in the 2v1. Will be able to get the knock, but a third party comes out. Complexity show up incredibly fast here for the third party. 2 teams down here inside Fragment East, and honestly, for Complexity, that's a spot that you can be playing off of for so long. With 6 loot boxes there, you are set for 3-4 games worth of loot.
And Complexity has changed up their playstyle recently. Before, I feel like they would have stayed over towards the high epicenter side. They would have waited to see exactly where this zone was going to pull, and then they moved their way over towards the Fragment West side or the Fragment East side from the high ground of the epicenter area. This time they understand that there was a third-party opportunity to come through. They wanted to get a little bit more involved. They seem to be playing center circle a lot more too. And I like that change because Complexity hasn't been able to rack up as many points as we know Complexity could do. And that could have been the shift in the meta, it could have been a handful of different reasons. But to me, seeing them play in the middle of the zone is something that I feel is really, really strong because you have Monsoon who's going to be able to go for these portal plays consistently. If anything happens in terms of other teams making a mistake. And what would that be? A Valkyrie rotating in when, you know, they don't realize that all these buildings are taken. Another team going and fighting, just like TSM and Esports Arena did, right? Or the Vizio did right there too. So like the heads up plays coming in from Complexity to make the rotation in so fast as we see what Excedrin's doing.
Yeah, Excedrin find a spot inside the western part of Fragment, and taking a look at that diner, it looks like all the doors were griefed by whatever team is holding the 2-story apartments just to their northeast right now. So Team Excedrin will not really have that as an available option for them, but they should be happy with the 3-story here for the time of being. Excedrin, another team that's, you know, we saw some great things for them yesterday, but it was in the second half. It was in Storm Point where they were really popping off, enemies spawning out one. Just exchanges a little bit of damage there before he reconnects with his squad and doesn't get the amount of space that he really wanted to. Big question is, hitting that Phoenix kit so early on in round number 1, what does their med situation exactly look like at that point if he's hitting the Phoenix kit so early?
That's true. That's the problem with these type of situations. But one thing's for sure, Kimchi Lee has so much devotion ammo. This is really big for a Gibraltar to have because you get that arm shield perfectly when the Devotion Turbocharger kicks in, and it makes Gibby just an absolute force as we see the rotation coming in on over towards the broken building. Defensive bombardment's going to force the team down over towards the bottom. Really nicely played by Senpai as Splash trying to put some points on the board. See the bubble does go down. You do have no mag on this Wingman, which makes things a little bit difficult. But since Prodigy Aces is in this situation, it reminds me of a little bit what happened in the Overlook Circle when Hal was trying to push in onto Ghost Gaming inside of the building, or excuse me, onto Madness in the Renegade squad. So I really like the way that Splash played that. I think the defensive bombardment is really well played. But also, again, it's about having trigger discipline there for Prodigy Aces not overextending, and Hakulo staying put as well. It's not easy to do. A lot of times you want to go full send on that when you have teams on the ropes. They understand that if they push in, the third party comes in directly from this hill that they're looking at.
Yeah, look at the amazing amount of space that Splash are actually playing off of right now. Hakulo is all the way on the north side of Fragment West, and they have control over Market as well. So, surprisingly enough, not too many teams inside of these buildings, which is what we typically see when it comes to these Fragment zones. Like you said earlier on, Complexity is usually the team that's been playing up top there on that ridge line, but we know that they are in Fragment East. They came in for that third party up against TSM and Vizio. I guess that could also be another contributing factor. Two teams going down early inside Fragment just means a lot more space for these squads. A lot of teams just kind of maybe misreading the situation and what buildings are actually free here just because of the absolute demonic presence of Splash all across Fragment.
Yeah, it's nice to see Splash put this together, and if they could charge these up to purple Evo shields very soon, they're going to be A-okay. Only situation that I see as a problem, which isn't really a problem, would be no long-range poke, which could continue to charge those Evo shields up. But for, every pro and con, you're going to have and give and take. So right now they're going to be stronger up close and mid-range than they are going to be from far. And we'll see what Senpai is going to be able to do on this Gibraltar. But I like the way they've approached the situation, splitting up into multiple buildings and having a big presence is definitely a ballsy play, but it has huge dividends. And it doesn't seem like too many teams are interested in pushing over towards the west side. A lot of teams favoring the east side.
Ooh, we have a 3-team pileup over at Construction right now. We got Atlanta Premier with 2 teams below them, one directly on the level below them as well, and then one on the ground floor. Ronnie could go for some cheeky peeks with that Valkyrie over the side, and he has been considering it. He wants to go for that, but he knows right now is not the time to overextend, put yourself in a vulnerable spot. Too many teams in the area right now. You have height, you have the roof to play off of as well. This is one of those situations where you would love to have a caustic, but I think the crypto works as well. You can just continue to spam the EMPs here. That's 6 people that you could be charging up an Evo shield with.
Yeah, what's after Red? Because I think he's going to just go complete platinum shields after he hits just one EMP inside of this building. And the value that you get from crypto between getting the scans on where the zone is going to be to find out if this is going to be Fragment West or East is absolutely crucial. Towards the edge right here, Prodigy Aces with the knock. Gilderson's going to respawn. Multiple teams in the vicinity. Albrily with a huge res there. Gold bag res from Stay Naughty. This is going to be massive damage coming in from him. You can see 2 knocks in just 2 seconds.
Yeah, Cloud9 though do need to recover. The missile swarm might be enough to take out Naughty. No, he survives. Now Really gets that quick armor swap off onto the blue. Team Liquid coming in. We saw them, of course, helping out Cloud9 with that knock onto Prodigy Aces, but Liquid understand, too much time, defensive bombardment going down. We don't really have the angles to try and push this for now. They might have been able to get the med kits off. So, lost opportunity for Team Liquid, but they do at least pick up that 1 kill. I believe Gilderson's and Fun picking those up for the squad right now. We're down to 15 squads here, round number 3, and we have a better idea. It does look like it will be a classic market side circle. You can see why teams want to get involved in these early engagements. They want to clear out these buildings earlier to make their rotations easier when it comes down to round number 4.
That's exactly what it is, right? You don't want to have teams rotating in behind you. You don't want to have teams rotating parallel to you. You don't want teams coexisting in your building, because basically that ends up being a grief in the long term as these things start to slowly dwindle away and the zone starts to close. Another big bubble fight happening. Fury has had so much action in the beginning in the early game. Now they're looking for some more over here. It's up to Turns, who looks like he has the 1v1 and 1v2 actually, as Panders came in full health. Just look at the amount of damage coming in for Panders already. 3 kills, the kill lead, and 800 damage.
Yeah, Zera really showing off the fight control with that ring of fire. I was surprised he was able to get it off and not get 1 clip, because he was actually caught on the animation when they went for that peek. I'm surprised that the fight didn't go the other way, but for Furia now, they've picked up multiple kills. That's 2 team fight wins for them. They should have 6 kills to their name, as it looks like another team, or another player actually, just to their north right now, trying to gatekeep them, but Furia have options. They can, of course, just rotate around, maybe swing around to the eastern edge, or they could just Valkyrie rotate out from this position. They do have plenty of cover back here in this choke. where they don't have to utilize a Gibraltar bubble early, but it looks like the players will just back away and allow Fury to walk in.
This is an interesting choke when the team's on over towards your left-hand side, because if they do start to get pressure, there's most likely going to be another team on the right-hand side choke, and that's what the pings and the thought process is right now for Panders. So he's going to be the one that's going to go and scout that out. He's going to go into continue to advance to see what's going to be the safe place to play, and then he could gatekeep on over towards the side and figure out what the team is doing on the opposite side of those train tracks. So great spacing coming in from Fury, great knowledge coming in from Fury on top of, like you said, the zoning with Zeratricky, just the team fight presence from Tech, the great bubbles that have been putting down, and now Complexity trying to find themselves in a little bit of a skirmish. Reptar away from his team. This is a little bit of a tough spot. He's going to end up just going back on over towards the window and up on over towards the roof. I like that. A little bit too split for their own good, and they're just going to reset the fight even though they had a pretty good advantage.
Yeah, this fight could be absolutely massive. We have a world drop coming down. If they clear them out, that'll be a free world drop spawn pickup for Complexity, who are already looking fantastic in the loot department. Remember, they had 6 boxes to pour over in that third party up against TSM earlier on, and they need to deal with this squad. They're in their way. They are, of course, blocking that bridge that connects Fragment East and Fragment West. Great shots out from Reptar, creating an opening. Monsoon's looking to go on in. He's got that window peak, a higher angle now out for Reptar here. So continuing to try and lock down this squad. That port, though, will be going down soon, so Monsoon does have to be careful. Shiny still playing back, and Monsoon will back away with that port to heal up. Reptar, once again, with that Valkyrie, will be able to retake height, and unfortunately for Complexity, they're not finding the opening they need in this fight.
And you can see the portal at 18%, but he has a gold helmet, so that's going to disappear before the 30%, which is your typical portal, because of the fact that that cooldown is going to be coming back up, so that portal's going to be gone in the next 2 or 3 seconds. So nice job. Again, staying disciplined is the key word here, and they're going to continue to keep using it because these pro players are trying to add pressure, force mistakes, make the other team get worried a little bit, force their communication off. Nice shots with the wingman in this 1v1. Wraith on Wraith over towards the bottom. Monsoon has that player on the ropes. The Q's going to come back on out. Battery going to be popped there for Monsoon too. Bubble from Shiny to get a little bit aggressive, but now the flanks coming in from behind. Another team pushing the bottom of the building. I think they need to play the second level here.
Yeah, they start backing away. They do have access, of course, to that elevator shaft, taking roof control once again. Good awareness coming out from Monsoon. I don't know if he heard them, but he must have to have turned around and made sure he watched his back. And just like that, Complexity stay alive. That could have been a big fumble there. It looks like it was Oxygen and Xset on the other side of this one. Clarify losing outs. And now we'll see if a third-party attempt comes in. Complexity will go ahead and push up. They've got the man advantage. Clarify going down along with Kenny. There's only one left for Xset here. Reptar taking a lot of damage, but he will be able to get back with his squad. Quick armor swap as well. And now things looking so much better for Complexity. Clearing out 2 squads in this area. Only one left to contend with just to their south.
Like you said, great presence of mind there from Monsoon, backing off, going on over towards the high ground. The communication seems to be on point. They are poised to be looking like Team Liquid did in game number 1 when they had the circle on over towards the Overlook side. That's how well they're gelling together right now. Speaking of gelling, Team Furia, Pander is picking up another one. He's going to finish off Klain and reclaim that kill with 4 overall. But when we're talking about if this is going to be a Fragment West or East circle, well, we're starting to get our answer. It's going to be over towards that Broken Bridge, which is one of the first circles and zones that you mentioned. Complexity with the early rotation, taking down Vizio and TSM just does wonders for this lobby.
100 Thieves, though, in a fight with Team Liquid. Never mind. Team Liquid were able to execute them and take them out. And this ring actually starting to favor the Fragment East side of that bridge as Cloud9 going for that black hole engagement to finish off the rest of Team Liquid. That's Gildersons and Fun going down. 9 squads remaining, 24 players left. Nocturnal might be ratting this one out somewhere. We'll see if Cloud9 can maybe spot them out, but looks like this is where the fight took place for 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, and Naughty does end up taking out Nocturnal. Team Liquid out in 9th place. They didn't have a few kill points through their names, but Cloud9 now really opening up, gaining control over this market side. Zach Mazer gets cracked, instantly forced back to battery up. Naughty going for a repeat and doing some decent damage. The bubble is here for Albralele, though, as Zach Mazer gets full pushed by Mooney, taken out. The Mastiff, not quite enough, but Naughty is there to actually get the knock onto Fearless, and now it's down to a 1v1. Capra versus Naughty. It's one-shot territory for either of them, and Capra connects, but the third party is instantly here. He gets a quick armor swap, but Esports Arena instantly pounce on top of him. Fearless even getting thirsted up. Team Intel coming in for 2 free kills.
Such a great fight right there from C9 and Team Intel, but it's Esports Arena who's going to reap the benefits of everything. Now the rotation has to come in. You can see they're on the fast side of the zone. They do have, obviously, Valkyrie with the Skyward Dive if they want to go and make that play. But right now, you don't really have time to go and do that. So it looks like they're just going to push on over towards the broken building where they locked down before with the barrels, and they're going to have a little bit of that zone inside of the edge. Fortunately for them, nobody pushed in on over towards where those barrels where you saw the opportunity after the third party did come in, but the team playing on over towards the pills didn't recognize the situation, and now they may lose their life because of that. You can see a lot of the teams are starting to focus them on over towards the side. Esports Arena is there, Complexity is there, and that seems to be Team Excedrin, who's stuck on the bottom of the
coming in, doing some decent damage. They're getting the knock onto Tech. A lot of teams in there. You can see as Zara Tricky will end up going down. Furia are eliminated. We're down to our top 4 squads remaining. Esports Arena, we've got Complexity, Renegades on the ropes here as a combination of nades and Monsoon ending up taking them down. They're just down to 1 player remaining here. Skittlecakes wants to chase after this one. Who ends up getting it? Shiny steals it away. So it's just a race now between Complexity and Esports Arena. But Complexity had a head start. They got the early third-party kills onto TSM and even more in the mid-game now. But at least for Esports Arena, they have at least 3 kills to their name. It's Team Razor, Complexity, and Esports Arena. It's going to be the battle for the bridge.
No doubt about it. This is where the value of Caustic starts to skyrocket here. The barrels doing AoE in terms of owning real estate. The Nox Gas Grenade for when things really start to get a little bit more clustered and a little bit smaller once the zone starts to close. But look at how much they have to work with right here. As long as they don't get bubbled on, or as long as they don't lose their bubble for free and start getting defensive bombardment, they're going to be A-okay. What does that mean? There's no reason to lose all of your shields, right? As soon as you start to take like 75, maybe 100 damage, back off, go and hit the battery. You have 5 batteries here. They're going to try to find a utility and grab grenades so they can force these 2 teams towards each other. And since those 2 teams are fairly close and on the opposite side, this should be advantage Esports Arena as long as they don't make any major mistakes.
This is important, coming down to game knowledge here. There are positions that you can play where Esports Arena haven't locked it down. On the outside of the bridge, you can play on the ledge side there. But like you mentioned, they've got them cornered, both the other squads right now. Complexity and Razor still trying to work their way on in. You can see the amount of control in the 189. Duplex, he was one shot. And you can't blame it on the mag. He's got the gold mag there. It was so close. But he does the damage, he slows things down. Razor are going to have to buy time for him to heal on up. This is just amazing control for Esports Arena now. And while most of this game was Complexity controlled, Esports Arena might be able to steal away the win. Now they do have the heights. They are on the top as the defensive body goes down onto Razor's. The caustic gas that ends up taking out Fearing live. And it does look like Complexity might be playing the ledge side, like I said, of the bridge. Razor losing out on Bercy, and now there's only 1 player left. It's the final 3v3. Esports Arena versus Complexity. Throughout all of that, Esports Arena did not take too much damage. They trade away for Reptar, and Esports Arena will mop up Complexity to finish off game number 3.
Complexity just a little bit slow to rotate down below, but it's Skittlecakes, man. He's just so good on Caustic. The barrels, we talked about the value towards the tail end of the game, especially in a close quarter area, just like that burning bridge. And you have to give him credit for those PK shots at the end connecting. It's not just the utility that was bringing with the legend that he was playing. It was all the facets of the game right there in terms of well-placed bubbles, taking the high ground, focusing down the players and forcing them into each other. And then the presence of mind to just full send it on the 1 player that was a little bit out of position, which was over towards the bubble side. So Complexity got a little bit too split, and Esports Arena capitalizing on that immediately.
Yeah, great win for Team Esports Arena there in game number 3. That was our final game on World's Edge for this week. We're going to go ahead and take a halftime break, and when we get back, we'll be swapping on over to Storm Point for our final 3 games of the day. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Let's go.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the bars in the breaks. I'm talking one chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go. Etc.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Team Esports Arena with the win there in game number 3. They got into the late circle there and weren't quite able to pull a win out in game 2 as CLG took that win, but they are able to dot their I's, cross their T's, and close out the action on World's Edge with a W. Let's check out our next player of the game here for this one. It's going to go to Skittlecakes. No real surprise there. You saw he got kill leader there late in the game and ends up with 7 kills and an assist and just 2 damage shy of 1,500 there on the Caustic. Of course, Skittlecakes has been one of the best players in North American competitive Apex here over the last 3 to 4 months. Continues to do a lot of great work, and a big reason why Team Esports Arena continues to be as successful as they are. We'll have to see how their momentum transitions onto Stormpoint, as we will switch maps here going into game number 4. But at the very least, Team Esports Arena with some good points on the board here to end out the first half, and they're definitely going to be feeling good as we kick off the action on Stormpoint. And I'm excited to see what they're able to do in Pro League this weekend. We actually just got the groups released for Pro League for Split 2, and they will have some stiff competition. Cloud9 and Team Liquid both drawing into Group C alongside Team Esports Arena, which will make things very, very interesting. But at the very least, the team looking strong here tonight and looking to keep it rolling in the back half of tonight's games. Do want to remind you folks, of course, if you're looking to pick up some Esports Arena merch, you can at shop.esportsarena.com. Head over there today and pick up everything you need to get a nice, cozy Esports Arena fit. Again, that's shop.esportsarena.com. We're going to a quick break right now, but when we return from our halftime show, we'll have the second half. Don't go far.
We're going to do it in 3, 2, 1.
Three games down, World's Edge done and over with our three winners. Of course, we had Team Liquid, CLG, and ultimately Team Esports Arena taking those maps. We're now swapping on over to Stormpoint. Before we do, though, let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard to see who stands up top. After game number 2 in their win, CLG were able to bump down Team Liquid, but Team Liquid maintained their second place spots as Team Esports Arena, with their win, now take first place.
So we're seeing the value of playing the inside of the zone for sure, but Team Liquid is the team that played the outside and then pushed their way in. When we see three different winners, those three teams sitting at the top, that to me screams that the kill points are really important, but it's all about those placement points. The team that has been picking up a decent amount of both, and that you have to watch out, Team Furia, who's above these teams' heels.
Yeah, 27 points across those 3 games, and it's been largely just a lot of fighting for Furia, playing off the edges and finding those fights. And they did a very good job across those 3 games. I mean, that's averaging 9 points, which is really what you're shooting for. when you're looking for consistency in these matches. But Storm Point's going to be a different beast. Let's go ahead and check in with the Mobile One high performance moment, though, of game number 3. And I mean, this was a very typical circle for game number 3. We knew basically exactly where this one was going to end. And we called it early on, this bridge. And it was the battle for the bridge that Esports Arena were able to hold down.
Just pay attention to skill. Someone in the chat, very active Caustic, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's covering so much ground between tossing barrels out, going for the immediate armor swap. There goes another really well. He's just worrying about the armor swap right there, but instead realizing that they're fighting. So he switches on over to that PK, and I wish my PK shots hit like that. Holy cow, Skittle Cakes, deserving that dub right there. Not an easy team to take 3v3 at the tail end of the game. Complexity with his team fighting squads out here, but they made that team fight look fairly clean.
And a lot of this was set up earlier on as well. Like you said, very active Caustic coming out from Skittle Cakes, but he had all of his bases covered, and he was setting up those barrels along every corridor. He knew the spots as well, making sure that they had proper cover. They weren't going to get easily cleared by Complexity, who were trying to creep in from below. So this was all set up, premeditated, minutes before this engagement ended up taking place. So well-deserved victory coming out from Esports Arena. There's a reason why after season 3 we were like, we got to keep these guys. We got to sign these guys and make sure they're not going anywhere, because again, they have been able to maintain this kind of consistency. It's great to see them take this win, but now the big question is going to be Storm Point. How do they fare on this map where the game changes drastically? You have so many elevation changes, so many big cliffs that you have to play off of. The rotations can be difficult because it feels like there's like 2 times more choke points on this map than all the maps combined.
We already see our first 50-50 happening. Senpai is going to be the first one to go down. That's going to be at the hands of 6 with an EVA at 8. So Ghost Gaming already having a team on the back foot. Rakanishu is going to go heal up as well. But when we talk about changes in the map, that also creates composition changes. So I'm curious to see which teams are going to be really switching it up. Is Skittle Cakes going to continue to stay on Caustic, as this map is a little bit more open with not as many buildings where Caustic could be as valuable? But this fight is not as easy as Ghost Gaming was hoping for, and that zip line takes a long time to get up on top of. So we'll see if Rakanishu is going to drop back down and get with the team.
Yeah, it does seem like they're fairly healthy across the board, though. 6 trying to heal up, and he does spot one out. Impulse might have the angle onto him, but he's going to force him back for now, as they're not quite ready to drop, but there it is, hitting that cell on the way down, and they will be able to finish them off. The other 50-50 taking place, Renegades versus Oxygen, and Renegades end up winning that one out. I'd love to check in to see where that fight ended up taking place, but hey, we got another one. We got Excedrin versus Team Nerf taking place. So 3 separate 50-50s across the board so far, and this is where you really do need to kind of establish your drop spot. This one right now currently, what is this? Yeah, basically in the center of the map as they try to back away. They lost out on Dimmy, unfortunately, here, and Turns already used that bracelet, so it doesn't look like they're going to be able to recover him as Team Intel get into a fight as well. Noko and Stunning out.
Another one. That's crazy that Fearless is going to stick with Bangalore throughout all of this too. So we saw him yesterday in the open day bust out the Bangalore. It wasn't extremely successful, but we know the little bit of a smoke glitch that you can do and play that still hasn't been. So Fearless is going to go and take advantage of that. But also because we were talking about how open this map is, the smokes could prove fairly useful as Nerf is just getting the business by Team Excedrin. Enemy's going to go reset the armor with the finisher, and then Mooney's going to finish off Zednim as well. A lot of different deaths, 11 different players already taken out within the first minute and a half of the game.
Yeah, 3 full squads at that. And take a look, this is very similar to the ring that we had in game number 4 yesterday. Another hard pull up towards the wall side. It ended up ending out on the shuttles that are right outside on the western side of the wall. But it's hard to tell. Maybe this one can fall down to Cascade. We'll find out. But I think everyone is kind of banking on this one continuing to pull up north towards that wall water side.
And when you look at the south side, just look how tough it's going to be for the teams that end up getting gate cap maybe over towards Cascade Falls or maybe over towards Checkpoint, where you could see Team Excedrin setting up, and then Ghost Gaming coming up over towards that very northwest side too. That's going to be fun to see how they work together to kind of push these teams out, because I would say, what is that? We have at least 10 to 12 teams that are looking at 2 to 3 different choke points.
Yeah, and right now the teams are in position to try and get an early spot. Renegades might be running into one currently over at the wall. It looks like all 3 drop ships being controlled by that squad currently. It's hard to tell with that bright color against the white exactly who that team is. The Renegades can just play inside the wall. They just have to be worried because they do also have Atlanta Premier coming up behind them. So again, a lot of early engagements. That means a lot of teams are gone. It frees up some space to try and fight earlier, but Renegades have to be careful about their flank.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then on the west side, you do ESA, just big chilling, playing the edge, which is something that they've done before when they've landed over towards that Lava City side in World. So they're just going to continue to loot up and slow play that one. But Excedrin, pings are going down over towards some pretty suit over here. Going to be able to get that purple mag and the wingman, the car in the back pocket too. Getting a blue backpack, always fairly solid, but it's going to be pretty sticky for them fairly soon. Closing, a lot of teams do have round 2 information. They're going to have to get this round 3 information if it's going to be that circle that you were talking about, Jamerson, ending towards those capsule type things. So Cruisin had a phenomenal performance yesterday. I think that he came down to a final 2v1, if I'm not mistaken, the second win of the day for Team Excedrin. So really eyes on Cruisin because we've seen what Lee can do. We've seen Enemy also popping off at times, but I'm excited to see if he have that performance that he had yesterday.
It's a little unfortunate for Team Excedrin, though. They don't have that beacon spawn here at Checkpoint. Unfortunately, if they did, they could have just hung out here for so long because they would have been well within the safety zone of zone number 2. They would have had that ring 3, ring 4 information if they wanted to camp it. But for now, it looks like they are happy to just play inside Checkpoint currently while they wait for the timer to run down. I mean, so many squads have already gone down. You can kind of wait at this point for the lobby to do most of the job itself. You just avoid a lot of the engagements. Remember, Excedrin ended up winning 2 out of our 3 maps yesterday, so we have some high hopes for them. It was very quiet, mostly for Team Excedrin in the first 3 games of the day, but now this is their bounce back territory. Can they do it again? On board with our Tomcat Ratcam, and I believe this is the last member of Team Nerf, and it is Force, the only one alive. A lot of jungle coverage to work with at the very least.
Yeah, it's like you said, one of their favorite to do in a new map, in ranked, in tournament play. Hey, check out this rat spot. Definitely looking like a rat over here behind the bushes. And make sure you kind of move your stick to M&K, whatever you're playing with. There it is. You don't want to end up getting kicked out of the game there. The good old boot from Snake and camping just too long, but cue the Fast and Furious music, one of our favorite things, the Trident over here being utilized by Razor. Not the Lazarus strategy, the bubble coming down. You can also heal on that thing unless you are the driver.
Yeah, one thing I was really... I know Lazarus was doing it for memes, but it's so important to actually have all 3 members on the Trident, not taking individual ones unless you have a very specific strat where you're trying to use those as extra cover in zones that will end basically out in the open. But you can see when that Trident does get hit, that damage is split across all 3 players as well. So you got to really consider that one. But Razor just having a fun joyride so far, as right now it does seem like they're working their way towards the northern side of the map currently up at Command Center. They have plenty of time to actually route around, maybe go over to Thunderwatch, go over to High Point, and then work their way towards the north side of the map. So we'll see if that happens for them. Currently, it is ring number 1, so they're not going to be taking that much damage. So it's going to be fine for them to heal this one up. All right, right now, though, as they are making their way to the north, we have to note that we did have Renegades, of course, in position at the wall. It didn't look like there was any action taking place there with Atlanta Premier coming up around their flank. And so Razor, they have to be careful in how they approach this. They're going to take the time to go ahead and heal up here first before they move in. So I love that they took this quick little pit stop before they continued on in the safety of this valley currently, looking to see if they've got any extra loot. But they might actually exhaust their stores of meds. I mean, take a look. You got 4 syringes left in the hands of Bursty there. We'll see what else everyone else has as they start making their way on up, continuing to do this very late rotate throughout the ring right now. So while we had 3 50-50s taking place in the early game of this match. Things have definitely slowed down going into ring number 2. Now on board with Renegades, keeping an eye all across the board. You can see that we currently have Madness playing that flank, making sure no one is coming around behind them, and you have Saucer and Pow over here, making sure no one's trying to climb up to them. But I don't think they have anything to really worry about. There is a squad playing outside on the shuttles, in the 3 shuttles. You can see their outlines down there. They'll be keeping a lot of the teams out so far. Now the thing is, though, do they know where this ring is going to be ending? Does everyone expect it basically to be ending here on the north side like we had in game number 4 yesterday?
I like how Saucer is using all the little details of the map to just try to peek and being as annoying as possible. They're in a pretty decent spot right here, and you can see they're just waiting for any type of action to go and play, and if they go do that, they have multiple rotations that they can go and utilize. But 4 batteries, a lot of ammo in that wingman. Really the only thing that you're missing would be a mag on the wingman, and you'd be feeling like you are just sitting pretty up here. So I like this spot, and I think that the reason things have slowed down, Jamerson, is because the players want to learn as much as possible, right? Yeah, you learn about the 50-50s, but the real learning is all of these situations that they've been through a million times on World's Edge. And how do you do that? You get towards the end zones. You get to see what teams do, what their tendencies are, where the best spots are to hold. And you only learn that through trial and error. And I think that that's why things are going to continue to be like this on Storm Point. I mean, we had very fast-paced World's Edge games. I think that the players are just perfectionists at that one. This is going to be so fun to see how they go and show us how to play Storm Point.
Yeah, there was just a speed run to try and get to Storm Point because everyone wants practice on this one so far. When the news broke that would be going over to this, it felt really short notice, and so teams are feeling that scramble, feeling the need to get as much experience as possible. It does seem like Team Intel fighting up against Team Excedrin right now. We're getting some flashbacks of yesterday's game so far. MC Lee ends up getting thirsted, and oh my goodness, CLG show up for the third party, just busting in and clean up both of the squads.
That burst from Mamba, 100 damage so quickly. Devo flatline, I mean, that's a controller combo if I've ever seen one. You can see the loot going in on over towards the hands, 4 batteries in the backhand. They are going to be sitting pretty over there. Complexity, they have to make the rotation, though. Keep in mind, just round up 2, it's not going to completely tick them away, so a lot of different options in terms of how you want to go and approach this one. But Shiny finds himself away from the team again. It could have been a nice bait, though, and there it is. Albrulelli getting a little bit too overextended, and he's going to go down as the rest of the players from C9 trying to answer back. Zach Mazer takes way too much damage. Reptar looking healthy. Shiny looking fairly healthy as well. It's just a 2v1 on the last player alive, and Naughty is already down 2, so that's going to be Mazer going down and the rest of the C9 squad going down to Complexity. Tough break right there. I mean, both Shiny and Albrelli a little bit too overextended. There goes the third party. This could cost Complexity their life. I like this rotation coming in from Reptar. He's going to go back on over towards the zone. But it is Team Razor, and if I'm not mistaken, Team Razor was a little bit in shambles and on the run.
Yeah, unfortunate that they ended up getting third party there. The fight was relatively clean, but even the small, minuscule extra seconds that are added on, chasing down these individual 1v2s and such, end up dragging it out just long enough for Razor to come in for the third party. We'll see how long they end up sticking around. Like you said, this is ring number 2. It's going to tick. It's going to hurt a little bit, but you can definitely still heal through it. It's going to be unfortunate. We'll see how many heals that Razor end up looting away from these bodies. There's still an opportunity for Shiny and Shiny to come back to try and get Monsoon's banner and get him back into this game. As you can see that right now, Razor, they don't feel any impetus, so there is an opportunity for them to just stick around and camp these banners.
And they're aware of the situation. Hey, there was someone that kind of went over towards the backhand side. Where is this player going to be located? Is it a threat to us? Can we find this kill point? We do not want them to get the banners. I like that, especially understanding how talented this Complexity team is. But there's the ring pull, and it does kind of favor towards the esports arena side, so we'll see what they're going to be able to do with the situation at hand. Also, going back to the discussion of will Skillcakes play Caustic, that is not the case. Caustic really starts to fall off here in Storm Point, again, with the lack of buildings in the end zones that we are going to see a lot of them tend to be a little bit more open, and that's why Skillcakes is thinking, okay, open area, very similar to where you have the Nox gas grenade. This time it's going to be a black hole met with grenades on top of that, but a little bit too overzealous there, and they take a lot more damage than they were anticipating.
Oh boy, Skittlecakes is the first one to go down. Knocked will get 3-man peeked by CLG. And Duplex puts up almost no fights as CLG will pick up another 3 kill points here. We do have a res going down just to the north side. That might have been Complexity actually getting back into the game right now as Team Liquid end up losing out on Nocturnal. Maybe a 30-30 repeater from Rakinishu there. Ends up taking out him out from range, but Fun finding a nice little angle through the pipes there. Will try and get the bubble res. He needs 14 more seconds, 10 more seconds, unless he can utilize the geometry of this map to get that res. But it looks like he is just going to wait for the safer option, wait for the bubble res. He's only got 1 more second left. Joining on board with TSM as they ended up spotting out Vizio here. We got Reps with the Kraber in hand. Bubble out, giving the nice retreat position for the rest of TSM to heal up. They already have the man advantage. They don't need to force the issue. And that Kraber shot just going a little bit wide there. Still, though, now they're getting flanked, and they don't have a bubble to play off of. He didn't even get his defensive bombardment down, and now TSM find themselves in a really bad spot. Hal is no longer on that Wraith. The phase breach can only take you so far. You're seeing the absolute struggle that they find themselves in. Phase breach used. He's going to try and maybe find a flank, but there's still 1 more on the ground. Atlanta Premier will finish off TSM.
And that's a big learning situation there for TSM, right? They very rarely get caught in situations like that that they can't get out of. Usually you see Hal putting some crazy portal down. There was the Ashe ultimate to try to get out. They're going to say, hey, remember when we died in this choke right here? Remember when we get third-partied from behind? That is not a spot that we want to go and be in. We either have to take that fight or we have to back off. That's going to be great for TSM going forward. I know it's not the ending that they wanted, but that is definitely going to be something that they're going to note down and never make that mistake again, as Atlanta Premier is going to take advantage of that 10 times out of 10 and be rewarded with some free loot. Will they go for the Kraber here? I mean, Kraber is extremely strong, but we also know when you get that Kraber shot, are you really just trying to, grief a player, or are you going to be able to actually get that kill as Team Liquid? They already lost out on Nocturnal. They're looking for more. There goes the Havoc shots with the 3x connecting there for Reptar, but now Nocturnal back into this one. Gilderson is down. It's a 2v2 situation. Monsoon laying down some serious pressure over towards the backhand side, but no one's been able to stop Fun today until Shiny comes through with that PK. Third party, though, on top of Complexity. Tough break. There's really nothing to get out of this one. Renegades, they're going to get all of that loot, and Saucer takes over the kill lead.
Yeah, both sides really just struggling for that respawn, getting their third player back on in. Renegades with a quick defensive stance to make sure they're not the ones on the wrong end of a third party as well. Pings out to try and play the rock side if they so wanted to, as the ring ends up pulling more and more to that western side. So a different story from game number 4, very similar in where this ended up finishing off, but it is still off to the western edge. We have a lot more cover, a lot more ground play off of, and it looks like Force ultimately did go down, securing his team top 7 at the very least. So very valuable points here, as Renegades have so many death boxes here to pour over. They're going to be in a great spot. You can see the armor swaps coming out from Madness. They know that this is where it ends, and so they are setting up for it.
Yeah, it's like the best closet ever. You have multiple purples, you have some reds that are going to be there. Armor swaps on top of armor swaps. The only thing you have to worry about in that case is a team pushing in and stealing your armor swaps on the ground. A really well-placed bubble could potentially throw them off there. But genius plays coming in from Madness, thinking way ahead of where that next circle is going to be. Just like you were saying, it's going to continue to pull on over there. But here comes a Horizon Q, and they're going to start to challenge up on top of that. That's not the play that you're looking for. That's also not the weapon that you want to go and run to. Great Tether is going to slow the rest of the team down as well. Perfect execution coming in from CLG. Yes, they do lose one player throughout all of this, but it looks like they will be able to get this res off, and you do have a 2v1 situation. So going for the res, players on the ground are going to be calling out that they're going for that. The more that you thirst these players on the ground, yes, you are getting the kills, but you're also stopping information from going over, and you also potentially force the other player to drop down because they don't want their players to get thirsted on the ground. So really nice plays coming in from CLG. However, did it take too long now? They couldn't focus on the rotation going forward. That's the player they were looking for from the behind side, and it does put some damage down onto Vatro. Jamerson, that's not what they wanted. It looks so good, but yet from the backhand side, Pander's just ruining everything for CLG.
Yeah, now CLG running straight into the rest of Ghost as well. The swing out from Impulse to get the knock onto Mamba. And only one player remaining. They'll spot him out in just a moment as Nano ultimately goes down. CLG out now. It's the final 4 squads remaining, but Rakanishu ends up going down to Scissors here. And he's up top, stuck by himself. Team Vizio finding themselves the final 4 squads. Of course, this is a squad that's pretty silent, pretty quiet throughout the majority of the game. This is where they start coming alive. They got the triple mobility. They got Phony on that Pathfinder like we saw yesterday as well. Really focusing on that movement, but he was caught out by himself. Ghost turned on him 2v1, took out 1. Fury ends up taking out 6 though, leaving only 1 player remaining. Impulse. What does he have left in the bag to try and fight back into this? Well, he's got like 1 HP, so never mind. Hitting that bat now as Atlanta Premier come in for the third party. Will Vizio be able to buy enough time? Nades coming in along with that black hole. But it looks like Vizio find a nice little corner. The Nades even helping to slow down that push from Atlanta Premier, and Team Vizio will survive.
What presence of mind to drop the Black Market Boutique in the corner, and then the cover coming in from Scissors too. Perfectly executed. They also hit Phony with the uppercut so he could get back in there. I love the armor swap onto Six's body. I thought that was a huge key to getting back into there and making sure that they actually win that fight cleanly against Ghost Gaming, because the 2v1 could have came in from the opposite side. But Vizio now taking control of this spot, and I want to see what happens without a Gibraltar. I feel like Gibraltar's pick rate is so important in terms of the way that the whole meta is played, but Phony busting out the Pathfinder could throw a whole wrench in a lot of these different players' plans. When you do not have a Gibby on your team, the rule is take the enemy bubble. So expect to see Scissors fly in. Fury, he's going to be going for a bracelet inside of the bubble or the outside going in. And then Phony, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the first one to grapple into an enemy bubble just when the defensive barbers go down. So that is the one thing Vizio has to keep in mind when the utility starts to fly their way.
Somehow Impulse is alive. We saw him actually dropping on top of Renegades, and that buys enough space for them to try and push up. Impulse does ultimately go down, but now Vizio pushing on to Atlanta Premier. This could just spell victory now for the Renegades, already coming in for the third party. Scissors needs an armor swap, but he only gets like 10 HP off of it. Renegades coming in. Madness gets the first knock onto Scissors, and now it's only Phony left remaining here, as they only lose out on 1 in that fight. Renegades come up with a huge game at number 4. We saw them on the kill feed almost all game long. This could be a great bounce back game for them, especially for our first game on Stormpoint.
Not only a great bounce back game, but the knowledge that they showed to get to the spot very early to lock things down. Saucer picking up kills from that spot. Then they rotate down for third parties, pick up kills down there. They get some extra loot. They find the end game again, and they have multiple armor swaps in there. It seems like they came fully prepared for that circle.
Yeah, it was a great win for Renegades. Our first map of Stormpoint here for the evening. We've got 2 left to go. So let's go ahead and take a short break. And when we get back, we'll have game number 5 of the evening right after this.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams and talking. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula, it chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the balls in the place. I'm talking one chance at the soul. Going for the goal. It's one shot. Now the future is yours. Let's go.
Game number 4 all done, and this time it was Renegades' turn. Team Vizio trying to get the partner teams on the board there, as it has been all pro squads through the first 3 games, and they weren't quite able to do so. There's Renegades grab the victory. Liquid, CLG, Esports Arena, and Renegades now all with victories. So no duplicates yet, but we'll see if any of those 4 teams can do so in the final 2 of the day. Let's check out our player of the game here for game number 4, and it's going to go to Sorcerer here. 5 kills and 2 assists, just short of 800 damage. So not a huge game from Sorcerer on the damage front, but very efficient with their shots, setting up 7 kills for the team, and that's going to help out certainly on the Mobile 1 leaderboard. Not sure how many kills they got in total, but of course when you see 4 different teams winning games there through the first 4 games, it's hard to really see a team drastically pull away from the pack on the Mobile 1 leaderboard. So at the very least, Renegades trying to put themselves in the mix here with 2 games to go. It could go really any way with how things finish. I'm looking forward to see how we end up tonight. We're going to another break right now, but when we come back, our second game on Storm Point when we return.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
It's fruit refreshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top fresh flavored splash.
It's fruit refreshing.
It's been a tough night for our partnered squad so far, but Vizio came extremely close, taking second place there in game number 4. It was Renegades that walked away with the win, and so far every team that has won their game has ended up taking away that first place spot. Will that remain to be true for Renegades? Let's check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where they stand now, and unfortunately, they only find themselves in 3rd place now, down by 1 point to Team Esports Arena and CLG. Now have that first place spot, 48 points for them, and they did have a very busy game number 4.
This is such a fun Mobile 1 leaderboard because of the fact that we never really see so many teams kind of different wins and also all being kind of in that top 4 area. So it's been really cool to see that kind of come into play here as Team Vizio and Atlanta Premier Furia all tied in that 5th, 6th, 7th spot. I can't wait to see which team is going to be able to break through. But like you said, tough day for our partner teams, the majority of them on the right side.
But I think this goes back to a point that we talked about yesterday, right? When it comes down to Team Vizio's, like now in the latter half of Series E, they've been struggling a little bit more on the open nights, but they still remain consistent here on the pro nights. I mean, 30 points so far across 4 games. That's within really good standing. You find them in the top 5, but here it is. That final push coming out. Team Vizio had an opportunity as Atlanta Premier were a little bit, I think, tunnel visioning on Impulse, who ended up dropping down onto Renegades, and that created the opening for Vizio to come in. But ultimately, Renegades, like you said, they had all the armor swaps ready. So whatever damage they took, they didn't have to spend the extra 5-6 seconds hitting a bat or a cell or an extra heal. They just armor swap and they go right in for the kill.
And you know, Madness is going to full send on a lot of different things. He's one of the most aggressive players that we have in all of the North America scene, all of the ALGS as well here in Series Z too. So I love watching him play. I'm glad to see that he's found a team after going through a handful of different roster shuffles, and he seems to be fitting in very well on this Renegades team. And when you have an opportunity to have a new team on a new map, that presents a lot of different chemistry openings too, because you don't all have to say, hey, this is how we did things on World's Edge. You could figure it out together. And I think that's what's so interesting about the team swaps that have came in.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point, but we're going to have to hold and table any discussions as we head into game number 5. 2 remaining here on Storm Point now. And like we said, we have about 5 teams that are well within reach of each other, maybe 4 or 5 point difference. And then we have a few more squads that, with the win here in game number 5, can definitely put themselves into contention for that top 2 finish. Remember, we have $500 on the line. We had 3 50-50s taking place. This was one of them. Nerf chasing down Noko. He does instantly get thirsted, and Force now stuck on the height by himself. Turns taking so much damage as he makes his way across the corner, and unfortunate for him, left one shot now. Wingman season, they've got the 2v1. They're just waiting things out. I like this patience coming out from Zednim. He's going to wait for Study to show up, and I guess they ended up getting the kill there. So our first team out as we join on board with Splash. I'm trying to remember who they were fighting here. Was it Excedrin that they were fighting for this spot, or was it Team Intel?
Right now, Hakilo is fighting Gravity, and it looks like he's going to continue to fight Gravity right there, trying to find a weapon the entire time. Nothing is worse than the first 30 seconds into the game, and you're still searching for a gun, and all you really get is an alternator. You know, it's not as bad as the B-20, but at least you're able to get something. Splash has not been able to put up any points on the board quite yet. They're still sitting in the goose area, so if you're a Splash fan, send them your energy, because they need some points on the board.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when they uncrate the alternator, right? Because you don't have disruptor rounds. That was the strength of the alternator when it came out of the world spawn. It did so much damage to shields, but now it feels completely different because you don't have access to that. And it definitely does not feel anywhere near as good as a floor spawn. But Splash will go ahead and survive this one for now, take their cursory loot and start backing away, try to find something a little bit better there, but just keeps running into more and more cars. It might just be destiny for Prodigy Ace to be able to play off of that. But they do at least survive the early game for now. Their armors could be better, but you definitely take that. Renegades, though, again, another early fight. This was the other 50-50 that took place. Renegades are winners from game number 4. Might be going down early. It's a 2v1. Madness does not have it in him to finish them off. Oxygen went out the 50-50 this time around. And now Renegades are going to watch everyone else start accruing points on the leaderboard.
Interesting with Protectful, as you just mentioned that fight, but we don't even have time because Ghost Gaming is getting back into it over towards the side. Great massive shots coming in from Impulse. That's going to be Hakilo and Senpai going down immediately. Only one more player left on this team, and that should be all she wrote as the focus is going on inside of the building. It's just a matter of time before they all go in and collapse, unless this could be a potential third party that's coming around the corner. I think it's just that last player that they're going to be looking for. There goes the collapse, and nice job trying to escape there from Prodigy Aces. But there's a few things that I wanted to talk about in terms of what was going on there. Protectful actually switched on over to controller quite some time ago, and I remember, you know, when he was playing mouse and keyboard, and we'd play a lot of ranked, we'd team together temporarily. We would 1v1 on controller. He plugged his controller in for the first time, and he absolutely destroyed me. I was just shocked that he was able to do so well. So we'll see how Protectful continues to do on this auction squad, because they do have a lot of potential. And now we see what's going on with the zone over towards that south-hand side. It's going to be a fun zone over towards the southeast, one that we haven't seen yet. Yeah, we did see fish farms yesterday, but I don't think this is going to pull as south as we did see before.
Yeah, we have a lot of launch pad in this one, and so there's an option for it to pull up to the north here or continue to go to the coastline to the eastern edge. And so teams not banking too heavily on that. You can see that we have 3, maybe 4 teams converging on the eastern side, trying to take control over some sort of building or some semblance of cover here. TSM has found an early spot here down on the southeast side of the map for themselves. Now, TSM, this hasn't been the greatest day, and they only have, I think, about 21 points so far. We'll see if the last 2 games is going to be a rally back point for them. There's an opportunity with first place being around, 48 points for them to try and catch up. But they need 2 big games. They need a lot of kills behind it, not just a plus 12 from taking first place.
And TSM is going to go with the strategy, and I'm sure they're going to do this in the final game too, to get into the end zone, because that's where a majority of the learning is going to be taking place here. You want to continue to watch out how these zones are going to pull. You want to think of where you would think the final spot would be. And if you don't get that spot and it pulls away from you, you have to learn how to fight your way into those spots, rotate your way into those spots. That's what's happened for all these pro players to get so good at the certain maps, like when they were playing Kings Canyon, when they were playing World's Edge for quite some time. Still a lot of learning to happen here for TSM. So they found themselves in a very nice spot with their entire back covered and free with a decent amount of loot too. So Hal, you know he's going to need more light ammo eventually. 180, that's not going to cut it. He needs like 500.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because like we saw earlier, I believe it was Kimchi Lee, right? That was playing with like 400 Devo ammo, and I believe it was also him yesterday who had like 500 light
he really
ammo.
did.
Yeah. TSM is a team that could really thrive with that kind of ammo set, right? But unfortunately, because of their playstyle, because of their early rotates, they end up giving up on the additional loot. They end up giving up on trying to find a purple bag or a blue bag even to have that additional loot, because they highly prioritize the rotates so much more frequently in these games. And especially here on Stormpoint, I think it is so important to be able to play center zone on this map.
No doubt about it, for so many different reasons here too. But there goes the Valkyrie rotations coming in from the other side of the map. There's some light ammo there and the backhand side, but they're just getting information right now, Jamerson. It's continuing to charge up those Evo shields, just pepper this team as much as they can. If they find an opportunity to collapse fast enough to not get third-partied, then they will. But until they land some sort of major arc star or some sort of major damage without having the portal there from Hal, then you're not going to really be able to do anything. So you're going to need an Ashe Ultimate to get in, but without the Wraith portal, that's a little bit more useful, in my opinion, for setting up some sort of flank for a third party.
And this is some good information that they're also getting just passively. Teams shooting at them from the western side, so they know they have to worry about that as well. Like you said, trying to find an isolated fight, unless they find an opening, it's almost nearly impossible in this situation, even though that team is just 20 meters away from them. Complexity, though, on the northern side of this compound of buildings on the peninsula right now. We saw similar teams holding this position here, but it can be a little bit difficult to hold. You can see the flank coming out and a lot of damage going across onto Reptar. Monsoon's going to back away to the rest of his squad just in case a full 3v3 comes out. He doesn't have access to that phase breach, unfortunately, and it looks like Imperial Hell ends up getting a knock onto Clarify. So that's exit eliminated. We're down to 15 squads now.
I'm going to need some like beachy type of vibe skins coming out, maybe when the summer comes around and we're playing Stormpoint, et cetera, you know, people running around with snorkels, or maybe some, you know, Tommy Bahama shirts on Fuse. I think that'd look pretty cool. But look at all these top teams. You have Complexity, you have 100 Thieves, you have the Wingman guys down there with Noko, Sunny, and Zednum, and now Hal starts to get interested. You see him starting to push up, add pressure on over towards that door, because he understands if he could just open things up a little bit, then that team would get eliminated, but that causes a ripple effect, a domino effect, and the rest of these teams to potentially make mistakes. And that is why playing aggressive, especially for someone like Hal, is always the play to do. So there he goes. He just portals right back once he starts losing some HP, understanding the situation. Again, just trying to open things up and create opportunities for the rest of his team.
You can see just how many teams are in the area right now. We got CLG, Razor taking almost the entire southern side of that crescent of fish farms. We've even got Intel in the area and Vizio in the middle of everything here. They're the ones that are going to be stealing and kind of starving the other squads out with that black market boutique when they toss it down. But right now, TSM, they do end up making that push onto Wingman Season, and it looks like it was a relatively easy fight. Rep's the only one taking any damage there, but he wasn't even cracked. At the end of things, he'll go ahead and swap off onto another purple. If they got the additional bats, they can go ahead and start throwing down some armor swaps for themselves to hold this building, as Verhol's taking a lot of damage, going for that peek up high. does back away. Phoenix kit in hand, needs some time, but it doesn't look like there's any more threats. Esports Arena try to make a trident rotate in, and now they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. They do have 2 tridents to work with as cover, but not in the most optimal positions. We'll see. They get right back in. They're going to share that damage as they rotate through, but this might be the end of things for them as they lose out on 2. Duplex is going to try and book it out of there, but TSM end up picking up 1 or maybe 2 of those kills. No, it's going to be Vizio stealing away 2.
Note to self: that rotate didn't work. that was learning. That was a failed plan for sure. We'll tack that one up to learning experience 1000%. But I love the way that Hal was able to play extremely aggressive onto the wingman team because of the fact that again he just gathered information, continued to poke, and then you saw another team start to creep up a little bit, and that's that chain reaction that I'm talking about. They didn't realize, hey, this is a fully healthy TSM team. Yeah, Verholst took a decent amount of damage right there, but if TSM wanted to fully turn on that fight and take it, they would have. But they know that there was going to be another 4th party after that. So great heads-up plays, and it just goes to show how talented TSM really is. I mean, that was such great entry fragging from Hal. Not many players can do that at that type of level against so many skilled players.
Now, Team Vizio, super close to getting a win in game number 2, finding themselves in the spot that they absolutely thrive in. Center zone for now. No teams really pressuring them. They're not playing as large as they are typically used to because they are contained into that building currently. The bubble goes down here for reps to get Hal reconnected with his squad, but they are still in a pretty decent spot. They have access to the black market boutique to try and pick up any additional loot from the fights around them right now, and no one really pressuring them. So I feel like this is going to be another good game for Vizio. They just need to be a bit more wary. I feel like, they understand on World's Edge how to hold the spots where you really need to target your attention, but this is, like you said, that learning experience where you need to understand where you're vulnerable in the spots you play.
And you don't want to continue to give resources on over to TSM with the zone towards their back. This is going to be a potential big game for them. Tether going inside the window. We have the player outlines, so we're able to see exactly what's going on. But I'm liking the compositions that we're seeing. Anytime we see less Caustics, anytime we see less Bloodhounds, and we start to see more Bangalores, more Ashes, Horizons, that's really what I'm looking for. I feel like nothing's worse than getting scanned and just seeing scans all over the place over and over again. It's just one button press and boom, all that information just it's never really sat right with me as someone that's loved just playing sneaky. So I love the meta that we're currently in right now, and I'm excited to see which legends really start to rise to the top in terms of who's picking what on this map specifically. But it seems like Ash is definitely being a big play. We're starting to see Gibraltar come through a lot. I'm also going to keep tabs on Vizio to see if Phony's going to continue to stick on Pathfinder. I feel like they'll eventually go back and get Gibraltar back into the composition. But for now, it's probably about having fun, feeling like maybe you could take some off angles with the grapple, et cetera, et cetera. You also saw when the bubbles do go down, how valuable it is to all be on the same page of taking over the enemy bubble. If you can always carry that philosophy into all of the fights that you take, you're going to do really, really well. But Excedrin coming out, going to bubble this loot most likely. Oh, just bubble themselves back on in. All right, that didn't work as according to plan.
Yeah, I understand Vizio wanting to run that Pathfinder. I mean, when it comes down to the circles or like the fights in like the middle of the map where you have the multi-story buildings and such, you want that instant access to that high ground. A lot of them are a lot more difficult to climb up to than they seem. It's deceiving in that way. But hold on just a moment. Cloud9 finding themselves in a fight on the north side of the map right now. You can see Zach Mazer getting ready that black hole, but he holds on to it for the time being, waiting out the Gibraltar bubble. Watch the timings for that. Nani does take a lot of damage, though, and that's going to force out a bubble of their own. They end up getting pushed here. Big shot to the Mastiff. 77 and 11 somehow. Gilderson survives. He backs away. Team Liquid, they have a man advantage, but they still need to buy time for someone to heal up. Nocturnal going down. Cloud9 end up cleaning up Team Liquid, but now here is looks like the defensive bombardment dissipating here. Another team trying to show up. Alber Laley getting cracked. He's just trying to buy time. It looks like it might be Team Intel coming in. We got the creeping barrage showing up, the rolling thunder. I don't know what to call it. It's actually Ghost coming in. 6 is picking up the Bangalore.
Yeah, 6 came through with that Bangalore in the previous game too. So we have 2 Bangalores inside of the map right now. And that was so unfortunate there for Albroli. I feel like he played that extremely well. Took a lot more damage than he was anticipating to begin with. Throws down the bubble, gets a lot of damage onto the Valkyrie. Unfortunately, the bubble doesn't come back fast enough. He's not going to be able to get those reses, and C9 is going to get eliminated. But great flanks, great third party coming in from Ghost Gaming. Triple take, so strong still. I mean, if you get that thing charged up, you're going to be doing some serious damage, and it's one of the more annoying weapons to go and play against because it just hits you for so hard, so fast. But now Ghost Gaming going to continue to Thum, and 6 has great mobility. I mean, in terms of his mechanics, in terms of the way that he runs around the map, watching him play Wraith, it definitely seems like another movement character like Bangalore would suit him, but it's going to be questionable in terms of how are they going to be able to push forward here, because all eyes are going to be on them as they start to rotate down. Are they going to have to Valkyrie Skyward dive in? Are they just going to continue to play the edge? It's going to get a little bit tricky, not on this zone, but the next zone.
Yeah, and they did utilize the Rolling Thunder in that third party. And back when Bangalore was the meta in Season 0, basically, of Apex Legends, when it was Wraith, Bangalore, and Lifeline that you ran, it was a huge utility tool to be able to use, clear a path for yourself, run through the Rolling Thunder, and make your way into the next zone. And it looks like 6, though, will be able to just mosey on to this high ground spot. He has the rocks to play off. His team has plenty of coverage here, and so they're not going to need that yet. Another 50% for the next one, but there's plenty of time now for them to consider rotations without having to use big cooldowns for themselves. So Ghost Gaming, one of their best performances so far today. It's been, I would say, a large struggle for them, but again, any roster swap will go ahead and do that to you. So we'll see what else Ghost have in store for us, but in game number 5, they are looking good.
From teaming with 6, definitely one of the best leaders and great at giving constructive criticism, great at taking it as well, plays with a lot of heart. So, if any team's going to learn from their mistakes, definitely keep track of Ghost Gaming and how they improve throughout Series E on Stormpoint going forward, whether that's, making changes in terms of the composition or whether that's just, learning how to team fight better. And I definitely feel like the attitudes that you have between Impulse, Rakinishu, and 6 are going to work out in their favor. It may not look pretty to begin with, but I think this is a team that if they continue to work at it, could really make some serious waves here. But that's not going to be a good start to being able to stay alive right there. You can see from long range being taken down. Capra just so clean with the shots. I mean, tracking like crazy right now with the wingman 73 on over towards the head. He's going to need a bubble, though, and they don't have one on the Intel side.
Yeah, Rakinishu ends up getting that knock with the defensive bombardment, but it looks like Team Intel will be safe to get that res, and that's unfortunate. Bangalore versus Bangalore, and so you have the similar tools coming in, the digital threats being utilized from either side, so 6 ends up losing out on that advantage that the Bangalore would be bringing into a lot of these fights if it weren't a mirror matchup, essentially, on the other side of this one. So now Team Intel stealing that spot away. We're down to 9 squads now, 14 seconds left to go before the zone starts closing in, and they run into that similar problem that Team Ghost had just beforehand. They don't have the Rolling Thunder for this rotate. They might be able to utilize maybe a phase breach for this next run in, but without those cooldowns, it becomes extremely difficult. Someone takes a shot at him. That just helps out Fearless as he wants to rotate it in faster.
Yeah, Fearless going to go in and get that double time boost to move forward on over towards the zone. Also has a smoke coming up any second now. It's just utilizing the rocks directly ahead of him. And this is where you could potentially see some sort of Ashe ultimate and maybe a tether behind this rock. If Fearless can go and get this information, that's going to be big. Fearless with the Digi threat, not connecting. We saw that yesterday with him with the wingman. When he put the Digi threat on, he wasn't hitting nearly as hard as he was before without any type of sight or with the red dot. Now the smokes will have to come out, but he doesn't have time to even throw those out because the rest of the team's starting to push around the corner, and that's going to be complexity. And that's what happens when you even just miss 1 or 2 shots against such a strong team. Trying to go and get that thirst for the armor swap and that extra point, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen as the rest of the teams are going to start to collapse on them. And speaking of unorthodox compositions, what's up with this 100 Thieves?
I love it. I love it. We don't really get to see the Rampart often, but it's coming out for 100 Thieves here. And I guess she can work, especially in these buildings where it does become long quarters oftentimes to have that extra wall, the extra cover. Wondering where the extra rolling thunder came from. But take a look at this ring, very similar to what we had yesterday as well. In game number 5, it continues to pull down over towards this peninsula side. TSM should be on the southern portion. CLG just outside of TSM's building right now. They're pulping Ultimate Excels in preparation for this fight. They got 43 seconds. They are safe under this building, but they don't feel safe with TSM lurking and creeping above them.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel safe with TSM creeping above me either. Back then, back in Season 1, there'd be Watson fences all over this place. Maybe that would buy you a little bit more safe haven. But here, anything really goes. The only thing that you're looking for is to keep these teams on the outskirts from shooting you. Because as soon as you start to get weak, as soon as they see a bubble goes down, TSM is going to immediately push in, try to get the kills, and then go right back up to where they have a lot of different armor swaps and utilities. So it's all about, again, keeping a presence here without taking too much damage. You got to peek shoot, you got to continue to just head glitch as much as possible, and then not take any massive damage from behind. If so, you are going to get pushed. So you may have an opportunity for a blue armor swap right there, but 6 teams all up in this spot. You can see Team Vizio is getting a fight with Razor actually too, so if we can hop on board with that, we'll find out what rotation that was coming from, probably from that very northwest side and underneath the base as well. So when we're talking about not getting shot at, well, it looks like they're doing a good job of not getting shot at, and Razor did the opposite.
Yeah, Razor ended up getting taken down. We're down to 5 squads remaining. We've got CLG, we got TSM, 100 Thieves, Furia, and Vizio still alive for this final circle. This is going to be absolute madness. 5 teams alive for zone number 6. Fody setting up a zip line, and we might have some old school, Pathfinder shenanigans where you just zip line hopping around in the final circle here, but it doesn't work out quite as well as it used to back when the ring closed so much faster in zone number 6. But right now for Team Vizio, it's about trying to survive. Hal taking a little bit of damage from that ring to try and apply some pressure onto CLG. They got a crack, onto Vatro here with the bubble down from CLG. They can try to force the issue with Reps' bubble right afterwards. The Tether getting a connect onto one more. TSM know that there's a 2-man group above to their north, so this is relatively an isolated fight. Nano trying to take the fight to them, but he gets punished for that. Rooftop control coming out from CLG, I believe, but TSM are happy just to punish CLG. They're now making this fight so much easier. Verholst and Reps healing up for this final fight up against CLG. Vatro hasn't even healed up yet. Scissors steals that one away. On move finishes the job, and now it's only up to 1 remaining member. Never mind. Scurry will finish off Mumble. We're down to 4 squads now. We got TSM, 100 Thieves, Furia, and Vizio here as the final ring starts closing up. Vizio try to push up, and they're getting punished now as 100 Thieves just backs away from that rooftop. They've got extra coverage here with the rampart walls.
Yeah, the rampart walls are very well placed coming in from Scurry. Keep in mind, Vaxlon, the new replacement on here for Vayne, too, who's moved on to a different team. So different composition, different team here on a different map, looking for their first win as Fury's going to get the knockdown onto Vorholz. Reps is going to answer that back, who's also been the kill leader throughout all this. And now it's up to Hal with that PK, who's been putting in absolute work. But after this fight's done, there's most likely going to be a 3rd and 4th party to go and end the game. It's going to be another missile barrage coming through, or a rolling thunder, actually, as you see Hal going for the battery here, Jamerson, and also Fury focusing 100 Thieves over towards the side. So Hal may be able to pull something off here, but Vizio with the roof control looking so good.
Oh, Zero wants to try and get that kill so badly. Vizio making the push onto 100 Thieves right now, and just like that, their base is broken. That's right, I said their base. They set up all the walls, and it didn't even matter. The barricades did nothing for them as Vizio just full sent, and that's the strength of this high mobility composition. They just get right on top of you, and now Vizio, they let victory just escape their grasps in game number 4, but this is now their chance, our first partnered squad to put up a point from Series E. I mean, we did have Esports Arena taking a win earlier, but, we count them as a pro team now. We have our partnered teams, and then we have our pro teams. So we got to make that distinction. Congratulations for Vizio for taking game number 5.
That was just amazing to watch towards the tail end too, especially because that was an epic battle going on between the 1v1 with Furia and with TSM. And at that point, you kind of want to watch the 1v1 happen to see who's going to win that one. But if you're Team Vizio, you want all those kill points on the ground, the arc star damage over towards the tail end, the grapple for the W. You know it feels good as a Pathfinder. Jamerson, I know you love Pathfinder as well. When you know that last grapple you're hitting in the game is the game-winning one, there was no doubt about it there for Vizio.
That's 2 great finishes along with that win for Team Vizio. Will that be enough to put them in the lead now? We're going to take a break before our final game of the day. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
We're going to do it in 3, 2, 1.
It took them 5 games, but the partner teams finally on the board with a victory as Vizio follow up a strong Game 4 performance with a win here in game number 5. They get the third party that they're looking for, and they brought all of the Arc Stars to the party to finish off TSM and grab the win. Let's check out our player of the game here for game number 5. It's going to go to Fury. No surprise here. Anybody on Vizio can have those pop-off performances, but Fury, incredibly consistent and a great player. One of the best we've ever seen come through Series E here. 4 kills, 2 assists, and 1,500 damage in that one. And of course, this is a Vizio that just is looking to continue to build on their lead at the top of the Series E leaderboard. Intel is trying to chip away at it every single day, but Vizio has built a nice and comfortable cushion, and their goal every week is to just come in and add a little bit more to it, just continue to widen that gap, and with wins like these, they will be able to do so. Looking forward to seeing how things shape up in the leaderboard as we get ready for the final game of the day. 5 different winners, and we have 5 teams that have a shot to get a repeat victory here in game number 6, as it promises to be an exciting finish to the day. Do want to remind you folks, if you're looking to pick up products from any of our partners here at Esports Arena, you can over at walmart.com/Esports Arena. Grab you a new Razer mouse or keyboard. If you maybe need some new Intel products for your PC, they're all over there. Again, that's walmart.com/Esports Arena. We're going to this last break, but when we come back, the final game of the day here for Series E.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Last night it was Excedrin with back-to-back amazing performances on Stormpoint, but tonight it's Team Vizio with the second place finish in game number 4 and now with that win in game number 5. How does that bolster their chances for taking away the victory here in Pro Night? Let's take a look at our Mobile 1 leaderboard to see where they stand now. And Team Vizio strike into second place with 51 points, just 2 points behind CLG, Tom.
It's tough if you're a Splash, though. I'm looking at that goose egg Jamerson, and my eyes aren't coming off of it, man. I can't do it to him, Splash. I'm going to need you guys to get a point here. Someone's got to do it. Who's it going to be, Splash? 10 gifted, whoever does it. I'm honest. CLG, though, someone has to stop them because they are looking really, really good right now. And the only team that's putting up fights right now in Stormpoint have been Vizio, have been Renegades. Yes, we saw some amazing things from TSM, but in terms of ending the games, that was a really nice job from Renegades in the previous game. Vizio before that. Surprisingly to me, I love the way that TSM's playing. I feel like they would have a little bit more points, but this is kind of the TSM style. They always hang in there into that final game, and they put themselves in a winning situation. So do not count any of these teams out with around 40 points.
Here we go, looking at the high performance moment, and this was Team Vizio just full sending it onto 100 Thieves, which is what this composition does so extremely well. You got Fury that's got the mobility of the Q, along with Phony, and Scissors can just float above all the action as well, and then get right back into position for the next fight. Team Vizio, not to be outdone from that last game, finish things off strong. Plenty of nades in the back pocket, which is what you're afforded to do with that black market boutique. You're just banking up all these nades. Vizio really loves to put the barrage and really get explosive finishes for the last fight when they make it there.
You also, when we did the slow-mo there, find out that Hal does win the 1v1 going up against Zeratricky, which gives them the extra placement point plus the kills that were on the ground if they didn't pick up on the Vizio side. So when we're talking about just squeaking out a couple extra placement points or kill points, that's a really big, half a second right there. It wasn't even a full second that Hal was able to turn the tide for TSM.
Again, it's another, a facet of what makes TSM succeed. How Imperial Hal is able to just survive a lot of these late game engagements. He just had that timing. We saw it earlier on where he secured a top 3 finish for his team. Another one here securing a top 2 for his squad as well, porting into all the nades to finish off that last member before going down. And that's crucial when it comes down to the top 4 positions. Each single place nets you an extra 2, an extra 3 points, and things like that can be the difference maker. TSM now going from the right side of the leaderboard, the bottom 10, now find themselves well within reach. A good game for them. They're down by, I think, 13 points, which is basically anyone's game. Now, even though we have 2, maybe 3 teams in that 50-point range, we also have another 3-4 teams in the 40-point range. So plenty of teams can still walk away with the victory heading into the final game of the evening. Here we go. One last time on Stormpoint for this week. Let's go ahead and join on board with Team Vizio to see where they land, how they play this one out.
Most likely going to be central, most likely going to be rotating extremely quickly. And it's no surprise that now you're starting to see TSM and Vizio, teams that have loved to rotate extremely quickly, taking POIs and fighting for POIs basically in the center of the map. So I love that they're continuing to bring their playstyle over from World's Edge, and Vizio's coming through now with a little bit of a difference in terms of composition. We know that the Pathfinder's coming through, and I think that when we see that zone, they're going to be pleasantly surprised on where they need to go. This is just screaming advantage TSM. They're going to be able to easily gatekeep Team Razor over there. You have Team Wingman over towards that southern side as well. All these teams toward the north, they're not going to be liking what they see. You can see, for example, AP, Renegades, all of those teams have so far to go.
This is such a great spot if you're TSM or Vizio. You're in the middle of the zone already, and you have access to beacons. For TSM, they are right in the middle of zone number 2, and that the recon beacon is right there for them as well. So they can continue to camp the antenna building and just play off of that for now. Nestle Splash, I was predicting maybe they go for like a full 3-man melee down to secure that 1 point that you were calling for, Tom. But they don't do that. They're gonna take this. They're gonna take this fight as I guess honorably as possible. But I think there's no time for honor when you're still running that goose egg.
You know what there's time for? Playing very safe, grabbing your floaties, sitting in the back of the water, and getting 15th place. There's always time for that.
And it might come faster because, I mean, we've noted that here on Storm Point, the action takes place so quickly with a lot of the 50-50s here. Noko getting the first knock onto Dimmy, Nerf losing out onto 1, but Turns is still trying to chase down. He does have that gold armor. He's got plenty of cells for that quick reset to continue this fight. Arcstar in, checking out both rocks. And it doesn't look like he's going to connect onto that one, but Nerf will try and secure this kill at the very least. But that means he's going to be out of Prowler ammo. That means he's now down to just a P2020.
I still like that play because you're securing more damage charging up, and you're also making sure that you do not give valuable information for when you do push outside of the building. So it's definitely worth the ammo. And the P20 isn't as bad as people think, right? Yes, you're not going to have the hammer points on that one, but it does kind of hit. As long as you are focusing on your shots with the purple mag, they should be able to 2v1 that situation out of there. But here goes another 50-50 happening on the rotation too. Madness trying to stay alive. Pow's there. Mozambique in hand. It's going to be OXG with the punch. And now Renegades gets eliminated. So one of our teams that was on the high end of our leaderboard now having to sit out in 20th place.
Yeah, that's 2 for 3 that OXG end up winning out on the 50-50 up against Renegades there. As it looks like we do have Ghost in a fight currently as... Oh no. Oh no, Splash are gone. They are out. And big 0 points on the board for them tonight. Unfortunately, we're down to 18 squads. Oxygen, third-party attempt coming in on them, but they know exactly where it's coming from. Aiden has the coverage. He has the headshot angle along with that arm shield to stop anyone from coming in with that rampage now. Takes a moment to hit the cell for himself, but this team, it looks like they will go ahead and back away from this one. No opportunity to try and come in third-party up against OXG. Good defense coming out from them.
Splash is definitely going to be able to relook at this, find a lot of mistakes. First of all, finding a landing spot is going to be very important as Noko is going to get that kill lead with 3. Nice job by Wingman Season getting the elimination there on to Nerf. But yeah, going back to Splash, we never want to see one of our teams here, whether it's an open team, partner team, pro team, not succeed in that type of fashion. But the good news is there's still a lot of room for improvement, and we still have a lot of weeks left here in Series Z. It's one of our newer teams in terms of the rosters that came through, and I think that they're extremely talented. Heck, they won their second game as a team overall ever that they've played. So finding a landing spot, always the hardest thing to do on a new map, especially with things that are going to be changing in terms of which pro teams are going to be here, which open teams are going to be here. They'll establish that. They'll get that worked out. They're extremely talented players, so I'm expecting them to bounce back next week. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they come back swinging next week with a huge performance. But it sucks for Wingman Season because it's way too early in the game to lose out on one of your teammates plus have the respawn timeout. So they're going to have to just do this as a duo, but maybe they'll do something that we've seen our teams do earlier today, especially on World's Edge when we saw a second place coming out from Team Atlanta Premier with the crypto in hand. So Wingman Season, Noko, and Stunny, they're going to be just doing it with the triple take and Prowler. But I guess it's not that bad because if you did have to pick one player that you would want to have eliminated, it would be your Wraith, right? Because you want to have your bubbles and you also want to have your scans and your Skyward dives.
Yeah. I think, having that Valkyrie alive is probably the most important when you have a duo. If it's just a solo rat, then either the Valkyrie or the Wraith. But the kind of bug out potential you have with the Valkyrie is so incredibly strong. Just being able to utilize even the shield as well. That combination of the bubble along with that Valkyrie ultimate is so great for getting out of a tough spot. And now it looks like a team might be looking to try and gatekeep them. They're getting shot at as they're trying to hit up that replicator for now. The ring isn't too far away from them. They're over here at Fish Farms, and it's just over at Antenna that it's pulling towards. So they're under no pressure to try and move up that way. I think what they're more under pressure is in terms of their ammunition. Take a look at that. The triple take. He only has basically 2 mags left in it, and now he needs to find an alternative weapon. I don't know how much he has in the Prowler, and it looks like it's decent enough, but they're going to go for a blind rotate now, take it to the skies with that skyward dive, as it looks like Team Liquid are getting into a fight with TSM. That first knock, it is a charge rifle shot, so it could be from range, and there hasn't been a thirst quite yet. So TSM is probably recovering right now as Wingman Season making a rotate into the edges of the next zone.
Yeah, and like you said, low on ammo right now is the only problem. Maybe one of these days in the replicator, you could change your ammo for a different ammo. It's like, all right, hey, I'm gonna get rid of 100 of these heavy ammos for a little bit of energy ammo. That would be the day, right? But that's never gonna happen. Is the nice rotation did come through, and that's what we were talking about with. That's the legends that you want to have. It's tough to lose out on Zednim, but if you did have to pick, you would definitely go with that Valkyrie for so many different reasons that we covered. But Team Liquid, with that charge rifle, did get the knock, not the flush though. So they're going to have to continue to play safe over here towards the backhand side. And nice little bracelet through the window with the Black Market Boutique inside too is going to be able to give them armor swaps if they're going to want to need those a little bit later. But when you see the edge of the zone continuing to hug right there, that's why Team Liquid is holding this. You know that with Apex, it's most likely not going to bounce away. It's going to continue to pull on over towards that side. So Nocturnal, he's going to stay away from his team. Was playing Wraith previously, going back on over to the Valkyrie here. And he's going to just lock things down with an off angle with the charge rifle PK. So this is, smart distribution of where their legends are. It's just a matter of, is Nocturnal going to be able to charge this Evo shield up? And can he get back to his teammates if he ends up getting focused?
All right, Nocturnal, just trying to get a little bit more vision with that ultimate there as he does spot one out all the way up towards the northeast. Cloud9 finishing off Oxygen. Kupski going down as Excedrin on a later rotate here. We're actually running into an engagement. There's another team in their way as they are running through the zone over here at the wall. The northern rotates coming up from Excedrin so far. As looks like they are, they might have a man advantage here. It's hard to tell. No, there is a third man. So it's going to be a full 3v3, I believe, as Kim Chi Lee goes for the peek and almost goes down for his efforts. He does have enemy here with him, but every player down to so little HP needs to take some time to top off with a medkit, with a syringe, and Excedrin are forced down into the building now, losing out on some of the tempo in this fight. Enemy goes for the peek out once again here. He's got to be careful that the same thing doesn't happen to him. They're using that gravity lift, and there it is. Cloud9 gets the knock onto enemy. It's a 3v2. Kim Chi Lee takes a big shot there as he doesn't even answer back. Cloud9 just clapped Excedrin.
There's no, I will clap for them because of how they just clapped this team. Zach Mazer went off right there. He doesn't have much damage, but the way that he was able to utilize the Horizon, the Havoc shots ripped through, all players were focusing the right player at the same time, and that is phenomenal teamwork coming through. It seems like C9 started to get more and more warmed up. It started with Albrelli on World's Edge falling off of the map in the back of Overlook. That wasn't what they were looking for. They seem to be playing with a little bit more chip on their shoulder now. They're playing a little bit more aggressive. And to me, it does lie down to what Zach can do on this Horizon. I know Naughty and Albrelli, it's a complete team game. They have to lock things down with their legends too. But when I'm looking at Zach and the way that he's played the Horizon so far, knowing how talented he is and what he's capable of, I don't think that he's really brought that to the table so far over this previous 5 games. And if he could play his best, he's probably one of the best players that we have in all of North America. And the vibes that C9 brings are absolutely immaculate when they're all on fire, or just in general too. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the rest of this game. That could be their big breakthrough game on this map, because they already have a decent amount of kills with 15 squads remaining.
And that is the most important part, right? It's all about the vibes for Cloud9, good or bad. That's basically what dictates how they play. The good vibes, they are going to just be able to score amazingly. We've seen some high fracking games for them. Right now, though, it looks like the 2-man of Noko and Co. of Wingman Season did spot out one member of XSET taking down Clane CLG, playing on the northeast side of the zone. We did get to take a look at the next ring, though. It is continuing to pull into Antenna and kind of centering on that spot. So we'll see if TSM are still up there playing off that beacon or not. We did see, of course, the knock coming out from Nocturnal onto Reps, which did not result to much other than damage there. But TSM might be, sitting pretty for that late game up top. Now CLG, though, looks like they want to try and get this beacon for themselves. They need to get Batro over here so that Nano can safely do this. But you can see they don't want to overcommit for this one, and they might not even hit this scan.
I think that they will hit the scan just because he doubled back right there, and I'm glad that I waited to talk until you talked because I was wondering if he was going to do the same thing. This is a very crucial scan, and everyone knows getting that zone 3 to zone 4 information, that's where you're going to really find where that zone is going to end. But look at this. Someone call Tomcat. We have a rat, and this is a stinky, smelly, sneaky little rat.
Oh no. The zone's closing in, but you can see the discipline gonna creep up, take a little bit of damage here. It's just zone number 2 right now. He's gonna look at that kill feed to wait and see if anyone goes down here, but you can see he's still biding his time, not even hitting a med. He could be hitting a syringe here. Sunny got the first knock onto Monsoon, and somehow what's happened there? All right, Wingman Season taking out Complexity now as XSET Therapy still trying to survive. Maybe he hits an armor swap. No, he's just hitting the movement here. Still swinging around. He will go down. Fun ends up picking that one up. Team Liquid coming in for the third party. Need to find the rest of this squad. It looks like they might have gotten the res as well. And now Team Liquid. I understand they got one victory today, but they still need a really good game. CLG end up taking out Gildersons here. Nocturnal answers back once again. Deadly with that charge rifle. The bubble res coming out for Nano, though, might be just in time. You can see both of them are eyeing it for now, and it's a gold bag res for Nano.
Yep, gold bag is huge right there. I thought the bubble was a little bit misplaced, and once you see the res going in on the other side, you think, oh man, they're going to be able to heal a little bit faster. But because of that gold bag, it ends up being way more favorsome in the CLG side. So they are going to back off. They took a little bit too much heat. I like this idea. The fight's lasting a little bit too long. They don't have enough information on if a team's behind them, where the other teams are going to be if they want to collapse for the third party. So they're going to play it safe, and you have to do that at the right time, because if you danced around maybe 15, 20 seconds later, you won't have other opportunities to go and take plan B and C are crucial in terms of being able to determine where you're going to be able to go. So giving themselves options is huge on the CLG side. Atlanta Premier, though, they are stuck between a rock and a hard place, and the C9 squad is continuing to Thum. You could just see them slaying after slay here, Jamerson. They picked up 3 or 4 different team wipes.
Yeah, this is like kind of typical Cloud9. Game 5, Game 6. Something about Game 5 and 6, they just kind of turn it on and just end up playing for the fights. They start, disrespecting everyone and pushing everything that they can right now. CLG coming in, though, trying to take advantage of this situation now, but Cloud9 have already recovered here, forcing out a bubble from either side. Mamba needs to hit that fat defensive bombardment down, along with the creeping barrage, that rolling thunder coming in. The phase breach is going to be used by Mamba to reconnect with his squad. Now he takes that off angles from the right-hand side, making sure no one's pushing up from there. But it looks like Cloud9 have been stopped for now. And I think that's the most important part for now. With 11 squads remaining left to go, Cloud9 are going to look to get more aggressive. Zach Mazer hits that grab, lift, shot. Batro doesn't have his bubble yet, and he's just hitting a naked res here. The nades are coming in. Nano will be the next one to fall, and CLG, while they do get Mamba up, it's still a 3v2. It's still Cloud9 on the other side of this fight, and Zach Mazer will finish it off. Batro going down. Another +3 third-party attempt coming in. Will Ghost be able to finish them off? Finally, someone puts a stop to Cloud9. Ghost taking them out and picking up all the loot.
Bittersweet there for C9. I kind of gave us a little fist pump when Zach hit that shot, because holy cow, The triple take, I was like, oh no, what is Zach doing? He's taking free damage. Never mind. Headshot to the face, immediate collapse. And you can see why CLG was running the entire time. They just flew in. They didn't have any information. You're running into a hot C9 team. C9 feels like they've owned the area because they've cleared out a decent amount of teams. They just weren't expecting that third party to come in so fast. What a job, though, from C9 showcasing just the overall raw slaying power that they could have on a map like this. And Zach finally going just completely bonkers. There is Vaxon going to go in with the wingman. Amu's there, too. There goes the knock from Mooney, but I feel like that's just going to be a little bit too late. I'm not quite sure what the thought process was to go down to begin with. Holy shots from Mooney. Is he about to 3v1 these guys?
He does have that high ground angle, but I just thought it was so funny. The trap was set. You saw all those rampart walls down below. He chased him in behind the barricade, and he actually lured him into the trap. Now, Mooney, he does have Fearless's banner, but will he be able to recover Capras? We'll find out. I don't even know if he has the time to really try and do it. If he needs to plug someone in, he needs to plug them in right now. This next zone hurts. Even if you end up just touching it, you might want to just get Fearless in. But again, it's a huge man disadvantage. It's a 1v3, I believe, for him. He's eyeing that banner. He's got 39 seconds left to go on that one, but they have the rampart wall set up down below. It's going to be almost mission impossible for him.
Definitely. Cue the Mission Impossible music, too. We don't have any Fast and Furious music, so we're going to need something in the background, but Mooney is going to skyward dive. I think this is the right play for sure. I like how he's timing it perfectly with the zone. He could also give himself a couple of loops around the edge of the zone, too, instead of going directly in, and I think that's what he's going to do. I love this play from Mooney, gathering information. He's going to just continue to slow fall all the way down. Just great thought process here and just great execution. I mean, he may not be able to live that long, but he's given himself as much of an opportunity to pick up as many placement points as possible.
Yeah, and he's trying his best to keep his sightlines away from Ghost, and Rakanishu will be able to pick up that Kraber, get the knock, another shot coming out. Team Ghost are going to slow play this on this side of the fence here. And they can try and wait it out. This is their best performance so far tonight, but instead they decide to push out a little bit earlier, tank that rank damage, and then move on in. This is our first look at an antenna finish now here on the northwest side. We noted that Vizio, they were playing the center of the map. They were playing in the center enclosure there. We're in position for it, but it didn't look like they camped around long enough. So we've got 100 Thieves. We've got Team Esports Arena, Furia, TSM, and Ghost alive, along with Razor stuck outside just to the south.
And you have Hal just chilling on the corner, locking things down, but he's getting focused over towards the side too. Eyes on Rakanishu in the picture-in-picture too. With 4 Kraber bullets left, it becomes a little bit of a sticky situation, right? Oh, nice 45 right there. He's trying to open things up, but once he runs out of this, he's only going to have the flatline, which is nice that he has an automatic weapon instead of a shotgun in the background, but eventually he's going to want to try to find one of these kills and then swap that out so he can have just a little bit more presence. And 466 until the next evolution of that Evo shield, and 5 batteries too, so they're in a great spot right now. I'm expecting them to probably coexist on the outside of one of these 2 buildings. It's just a matter of how much pressure can this Kraber do for Rakanishu.
Yeah, it looks like that fence line might be in for them with the bins and such, so they might be able to play off of that for now. It's all about just keeping tabs of everyone on the board. All sides of the ring fairly similar in the speed that you need to walk in with, and so no one's really got the advantage there. It's just right now the fear of Rakanishu with this Kraber that can be that difference maker. And yeah, that entire fence line is in for Team Ghost, so they'll be able to slow play this one. 100 Thieves setting up those rampart walls for themselves, just build, and they are doing it. Oh, the one tap as Dreza tries to walk on up, and I don't know if they're going to be able to recover him. You can see the instant fire coming out from everyone else. Air burst nade out from 100 Thieves. Will they be able to secure it? Furia loses out on Panders. Rakanishu connecting with that shot. He's got 2 left. It's our final 6 squads here. A thermite into that doorway, and it doesn't quite connect, unfortunately for them, but they're just gonna go ahead and full send it onto that rooftop. Another connect, no, narrowly missing out as Imperial Howl ends up going down to Vaxlon. Now 100 Thieves trying to full send it on to TSM, but they're answered in kind by the defensive bombardment, and 100 Thieves are knocked out. Multiple defensive bombardments are actually dropped on the top of them, and TSM are eliminated as well. We're now down to 4 squads remaining. We got Team Esports Arena, we got Ghost alive, Razor hanging on there as well, and Team Furia on the rooftop.
Just picturing Rampart, when Rampart goes down and the box goes down, all of the loot kind of scatters like Fortnite, and there's a bunch of mats on the ground that help pick up the walls. And speaking of pick up, Impulse gets back in with the gold bag. Rakanishu just a monster with this Kraber. He only missed 1 or 2 shots, and this last shot that he missed, coincidentally, was his easiest one. But again, with that flat line, with the 3x blue mag, should be able to put some damage down. Remember, he was 500 away from getting that charged up to a red. He's basically there right now with that last little bit of damage, and that fence line, so crucial. Jamerson, you called it earlier, it's in the zone. We've seen teams utilize this and keep teams out of the buildings, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. As long as they don't get sent on from behind, they're going to have the slow part of this zone, and they could potentially just win off of this position.
Yeah, they don't have a defensive bombardment. I'm wondering if Six still has his Rolling Thunder here, something to answer for that high ground that Furia currently have right now. We know that Esports Arena ended up using theirs as well. So no one can really try and push Furia off unless they have that big ultimate, but time's running out. I mean, there's only a minute and 15 seconds left in this game. 4 full squads still remaining here. No more ordnance to throw up. Now, Ghost might be able to answer them with some smokes, with Six tossing up those smokes up there to try and create some cover. But here are the nades, as Furia still has some remaining. The missile swarm coming in, and it does get a little bit of a connect. The Arc Star down is going to force out a bubble along with that bat, but Furia do not want to give up the high ground, Tom. It's our final 4 teams remaining. We could have 2 separate 2v2s unless Ghost ends up just pushing in.
What a great smoke there from Six, and look at Pandas taking the high ground to avoid the defensive bombardments. They knew the defensive bombardment was going to go on over towards the corner, so that's why the thought process was to go down over towards the low ground. Now Esports Arena is slowly taking damage. There goes the bubble on the outside of the door. Rakanishu is just eating damage with the defensive bombardment thrown by Duplex. Everyone taking to the sky there with the Horizon Q. And
what is going on right now as everyone has that passive to really utilize that gravity lift, but Esports Arena still alive throughout all this. Furia have been knocked out. Razor's still up, but now it's Ghost. Will they be able to get the win? No, it's Razor who sneak in for the final victory of the day, and honestly, that has to be one of the most chaotic endings I've ever seen in Apex Legends.
That reminded me the first time I watched a League of Legends team fight, and I had no idea what League of Legends was. And I'm like, all right, what is going on? Why are there 70 people in the air right there? It looked like just an absolute mech war. And the best thing is I don't know if Razor knows how they won. I don't know if any of the players that were in that fight knew where the zone was collapsing on them. We had one player looking up into the air. There probably wasn't anybody up in the air at that point. So that was just an absolute wild ending, Jamerson. No words can describe what we just saw.
Yeah. Razor, though, do walk away with that victory. So that's back-to-back partnered wins here on Pro Night, and in particular here on Storm Points. We're going to take one last break. When we get back, we'll tally up all the results to announce our first and second place finishers of the evening. You're not going to want to miss that, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Put the balls to the brakes. I'm talking 1, One chance that was so good for the goal. It's one shot, not a future is yours. Let's go.
The final game of the night does go to Team Razor there as the partnered squads finish out strong. Of course, Vizio and then Razor finishing up the day, getting a couple of dubs there on Storm Point. Team Esports Arena was in the action there in that late circle, and it might have been just enough for them to jump ahead of Vizio and CLG here for the lead. We'll have to see when we check back in with our Mobile One leaderboard, but before we do that, we'll have to take a look at our final player of the game here for today. Game number 6, it's going to go to Duplex. ESA not able to get the win, but Dupe still with a big game there. 6 kills, no assists, and about 1,900 damage. Dupe has been an incredibly consistent player here, doing great work for Team Esports Arena, whether it was in Series E or in the ALGS, and they're looking to do more this weekend, and we'll have to see how they finished up here tonight. We are going to go to a quick break right now, but when we come back, Jamerson and T-Square will take a final look at that Mobile One leaderboard, and we'll find out who took the top spot, and then I'll be back to close the show.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
It's refreshing, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. They're all our top flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
All right, welcome back, guys. It's been a hard-fought 6-game series by so many of our teams here tonight. Wins being traded back and forth between all of them. No repeat winners so far. We had 5, maybe 6 teams in contention for that first and second place. CLG was standing on top of the leaderboard at the beginning of game number 6. Or did they do enough to walk away with the victory? Let's check in with the Mobile One leaderboard, and it was Team Esports Arena that snuck in for that final 61-point win now, as Team Esports Arena do walk away with that victory. And unfortunately, I am getting word from production, even though CLG and Team Vizio are tied in points with 54 in second place, CLG end up walking away with the tiebreaker. So they are our second place team.
Hey, congratulations, CLG, for taking second place right there. That is not an easy feat, especially with the 50-50s that they were dealing with earlier on in World's Edge. Team Esports Arena, though, showing that they can do it on World's Edge, and they can switch on over to Storm Point and put together some phenomenal games. What a performance, though, from everybody. So many hard-fought team fights, so many great rotations, really high-level Apex today.
We saw how close it is. Take a look all the way down that 10th place, or the left side there. So many teams in 40, 50 points. Extremely close to getting this as well. as Esports Arena, this final scramble. The gravity well, that's a huge black hole. That was like 6-7 people inside of that black hole. They just didn't have the ordnance to throw into it. And then we get this like Willy Wonka, in that smokestack bubble fizzy lifting drink contraption there as Panders takes to the ultimate high, utilizing the passive coming out from that Valkyrie, and then we just had whatever this was in the late game. Somehow Noct was left in the 1v1. Impulse takes out Bursty, but it just wasn't quite enough. Getting knocked out from a melee, Razor end up with the win.
And Noct's like, I'm not playing Wraith here. I can't queue. And also, where is the zone? Because things just got a little confusing there towards the tail end. But again, congratulations to Team Esports Arena. Very hard fought. Congratulations to CLG too. I know there was some drama going on with XSET. Looking forward to continuing that drama next week.
Yeah, and again, great performances all around. I mean, for a team that was also struggling, we were highlighting them very much so in the 6th game there. They ended up with 49 points overall, so not too far off from second and first place as well. And this was an extremely close race. As Storm Point evolves, I am really excited that we get the opportunity to be able to cast these games and do this with Series E as well. But to all of our competitors, of course, going into the ALGS this weekend, good luck with all of your matches. That's going to go ahead and do it for us. We'll see you guys next week for more Series E. But for now, we're sending it over to JC in the studio to close out the show.
Jamerson showed up to the show with the right drip on today as Team Esports Arena does end up on top thanks to that last game performance there, getting into the top 2, gets them just enough to jump ahead of CLG and grab the win. And as Jamerson and T-Square were talking about, ALGS Pro League Split 2 kicks off this weekend, and a majority of these teams will be there competing, and this is definitely going to bode well. This kind of performance for Team Esports Arena is going to feel good going into this weekend and kicking off the second split of Pro League. They, of course, finished in 3rd place in playoffs, and they're looking to build off of that. So well done, and congratulations to them. 6 awesome games tonight, folks. We had 6 different winners and a very exciting run to the finish. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Thank you so much for coming to hang out. My name is Ye, so it's always a pleasure to come and host and talk with all of you during the week. Do want to remind you, of course, we still have a packed schedule through the rest of the week. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next night of Series E Guilty Gear Strive. And then we'll have series recap on Friday to tie a bow on the week and talk about everything that went down. I'll also be previewing my thoughts and predictions for the ALGS Pro League starting up this weekend, so make sure not to miss out on that. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, especially my man, A Bad Push, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Going in. Ooh, like the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest to the armor falling off, oh god. All those gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. 301 in my hands, different drop, same plan. To my squad, I'm the man, I'ma win this, no I can't. Sending shots, no spam, accurate, watch them slam, watch them run while they can, make them slump. Give me the loot, take what I want, all of my rounds, light like the sun, yeah I am the one, lighting you up. R301, you're all that I need, you're all that I want. We at the top, act like we scum, taking your life and leaving the crumbs. Do what we want, we get the dub, living that life, yeah R301. I got the sides, H-Cog, mega stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. I got the sides, H-Cog, mega stabilized, no rock. Standing mag, more shots, standing stock, ready pop. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bats of bullets off your chest till the armor falling off, oh god. All those gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting up.